Alright, go ahead.
Okay. Well, last we left off, you guys had found a woman trapped within Undermountain by demons within her own mind, named Darabeth. After a greater restoration spell prepared and cast by Singe, you managed to free her of some of the madness that had assailed her. She shared with you her tale of a party of adventurers that she was a part of, and how they got assaulted by demons in the Underdark. She was left alone. You escorted her to Skullport, where you met with Tass, who, upon payment for her, as well as for yourselves, you teleported yourselves back to the city of Waterdeep. Darabeth thanked you profusely for the aid and promised that if all was well within Amphale, you would always be welcome in her and her wife's home. While traversing through the city of Waterdeep, you made note that more than a few curious individuals seemed to be giving you the side eye, as if they recognized you. In fact, while drinking in your own tavern, one of the patrons came up to Kay and asked for his autograph. During that time, Treverin, you met briefly with Kent, who had apparently teleported into the manor and had left a sending stone with old Nutty, the barkeep. He talked with you briefly and gave you your mother's necklace, a pearl necklace with, at its head, an alabaster raven. Excuse me, not alabaster, a obsidian raven. There we go. Singe, you talked briefly with Kay about your experience and the sudden change in your magic. Kay, you talked a little bit with, I believe, both Singe and Treverin about some of the sudden change in magic between the two of you. Over the course of some research within the city, you had the raven symbology Treverin could mean a couple of different things. It could be referencing as a symbol to most of the symbology tied back to the Shadowfell, um, either as a symbol of a dread plane known as Ravenloft, or the symbol of a newer goddess known as the Raven, which is a new, well, not so new. Um, it's something of a figure of legend within Elven mythology. And Singe, while researching some of the details surrounding your magic and the deal that you had brokered, you had talked briefly with the High Priestess of Bahamut within the All Faiths Shrine, and had done your own research to determine that whatever binds your soul, it doesn't appear to be demonic in nature, and hasn't made any further demands of you. The nature of the magic seems to be touched by the Shadowfell, but the specifics are still somewhat unclear. You have found that. Okay, thanks for drawing the face. You have found that the symbology of the feathered wings on your sword does seem to match as well with the Raven Queen. While exploring in the city of Waterdeep, Julie, you made your way back to the tavern and found that you were left with a strange gift, a severed orc hand that had Makuza's signet ring on it. You knew that your childhood friend and Makuza's son, Ornak Gorhowl, would have been the one to wear that signet ring, and fearing for your friend, you, with Daz in tow, have left the city, your companions promising to meet you in about a month's time in the city of Red Larch. So we did a little bit of research. You guys had found some magic items that were available for sale. For now, I think you guys have opted not to do anything about it. Julie and Daz, as you make your way outside of the city, I have to ask, primarily for Julie's sake, what is it ultimately that you're trying to do next? What is the next step for you?
I'm just going along because
Okay.
he
Yeah, you're my
hired me
hireling,
because
I
he
get it.
said that he needed somebody stealthy.
Yeah, we're going to treat this like a member guest in golf. I'll pay all your greens fees, but you got to come up with all the bets. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to reconnoiter, basically. We want to figure out, we want to get a sense of the disposition of the tribe. Where is it? What kind of shape it's in? Has the tribe gone over and are they actively following? Hold on, give its name. where is it? Galadrin the White, or do they look like they're just kind of beaten down and being forced into servitude? I know in my visions he had a lot of larger orcs with him. I'd like to get just a handle on the size of the force we're dealing with.
Okay.
And just basically, I want to watch and learn as much as I can.
Okay.
And I want to get a sense of the tribe. I want to get a sense of his forces, and I want to get a sense as to what they're up to or what they might be building up to, if anything.
So I will remind you that the last time you had met with Ornak, there is a small hill some miles away from the actual location of your tribe's base, where Makuz was buried, and there was a small ritual that you performed in order to signal to Ornak to meet you there.
Right, by the pile of rocks. Yeah, we should do that, but when we do it, I don't want to wait there. I want to wait someplace that can watch there in case he gave up. And I don't know if they tortured and broke him, and he said, "Oh, Julie will contact me this way." You know what I mean? So
Right.
I want to just take every precaution to not get. If it's a trap, I want to be as ready for it as I can.
Okay. So the travel up to the Evermoors. In fact, before I even go into detail, for your benefit, this link, chat channel at Roll20, will take you to an interactive map of the Forgotten Realms. And there is, on the north end of the map, this big area called the Evermoors. Near the Flint Rock is where your tribe is based at, right outside one of the larger hills of the area. And it will take some time to get from there to there from Waterdeep along the long road.
Can you tell me again where that is? I'm looking on the map now.
Sure. So towards the north, the almost straight north, there is an area called the Evermoors. It's
Yeah, I see it.
It's on the bottom left hand, I suppose the southwest end of that is Flint Rock.
Yeah.
Your orc encampment is based at the bottom of one of those rocks, one of those hills.
Okay. That's where my tribe is located.
Correct. That's where the Scorched Eye. That's where the major base of the Scorched Eye tribe is located, and the travel to there from Waterdeep is quite a ways. So while you're traveling there, I need both you and Daz to roll d20s. If you roll less than a 5, there will be a random encounter.
Hey!
Less than a 5.
It's not less than a 5.
Yep. Okay. So, the travel through Waterdeep, through the long road, is relatively benign. There is a bit of odd looks, especially as you get further and further along the trail, and further rural, as it's unusual to see a goblin traveling with a human, especially outside of some of the major metropolitan cities like Waterdeep. If you try to, as a general rule of thumb, you try to avoid the inns, and once you get into more rural areas, you're otherwise kind of left alone. I will say that you do pass through Amphil along the way, and you do actually wind up meeting with Darabeth and her wife. They own an inn in Amphil, and you were given free room and board for the night.
Wonderful.
As you make your way, after about 2 weeks' travel, to the base of Flint Rock, forgive the shitty drawing, I'm not an artist, but the inside of your tribe's base kind of looks like this. So the tribe itself is based into a hillside, and the symbology of the Scorched Eye was the further up on the hill, the greater your position within the tribe. More or less. the chieftain tent being the very top of the hillside, with several warrior tents kind of surrounding the outer edge. Fighting pits dominate the middle, and it was not uncommon, especially coming back from a particular raid, to see different warriors fighting over the spoils of war, what have you. There are guard towers that kind of watch over some of the gates there, and a ward pen just outside one of the gates for for your ward riders. Now, as you kind of approach from a distance, you can see that beyond just what I show here, beyond what you see for your own tribe, there are several tents that have been erected outside of the otherwise wooden palisade that surrounds what would be your tribe's base.
Okay. So, and what is it? Does it look like what does it look like they're doing? Does it look like they're preparing for anything, or is it normal everyday life like I remember it?
It's not normal everyday life like you remember it. In cases where you would have other tents outside of the palisade, that usually means that there were other orc tribes there, either visiting for part of a greater raid, or banding together to form a horde, basically. And they're, based on your estimation, looks to be maybe 3 other tribes there. So if
that's unusual. That's very unusual.
It looks like they're getting ready to gear up for something big, and somebody is trying to garnish multiple tribes together for something.
Okay. Do I see anyone I recognize?
You would have to make your way much closer to the base.
Okay. No, I don't want to do that just yet. I'm going to wait until I hear from or not, or if I get a response or not from my signal to my friend.
Okay, so you do set the signal.
Yeah, I'm going to do that first before I get closer. I want to see if maybe he can give me some good information.
Okay. Daz, you followed Julio up all this way. What are you doing, if anything?
So this map we're looking at, like how far away are we from this place?
You're several football fields length away, on the top of one of the hills.
And then this is like a flat area, and what's the surrounding areas like of the chieftain's area off the map? Is it up against a mountain, or is it just all flat plain?
It is not flat plain. It is very much hilly. The chieftain's tent is up against the largest hill in the area.
Okay, I see.
And it kind of slopes downhill, and the other tents that are outside of the wooden palisade are all at the bottom of the hillside.
And there's a lot of orcs going around here. What's the size of this?
So there appears to be quite a number of orcs, several hundred.
Ooh. Hey, boss man, what's the plan? I know a little bit about old culture. Why don't you just go in there and challenge the leader to fight? Or I know you're not an orc.
Yeah, no, I there's too many unknowns. One, I don't know if they would see me as one of the tribe anymore. And if not, they would probably just end up killing me too. They're probably just going to end up killing me anyway. No, I want to, whatever I do, I want to do it smart. I want to be careful and cautious. I want more information. I have a friend who might be, we might be hearing from soon. That might be able to, on the inside, who might be able to give us some information. So let's see what he has to say, and then we'll go from there.
I don't know. Hearing you say that, I'm kind of worried because, I was talking with the other people in the group, and they say, doing things smart necessarily ain't your thing. So, are you sure about this?
There's smart, and then there's smart. Like Julie says with the kind of a smile. He goes, out here, I feel a lot smarter than I am in that city.
Well, I think to me the smart thing would be for me to put like a couple bolts in his eyeballs from way far away and call it a day. That's pretty smart to me. That's like goblin smart. We're almost ruling the world.
And we may try that. But again, let's get more information, and then
All right, you want me to go up there and
make sure that what happens after is what we want.
I mean, you want me to go up there and scout? I think that's why you brought me. I mean, if an orc see a goblin, that's not gonna cause too much alarm. One lone goblin.
Okay, are there any other demi-humans here other than orcs?
Make a perception check. Not that you see.
I mean, they're green. I'm green. Maybe I look like just like a miniature orc. Think I could pull that off.
And I'll remind you once again, Magoobliet, Groomsh, Goblin, Orc. They don't mix.
Like I said, orcs are nasty creatures. They got no manners.
All right. So, you prepare the signal. You have to wait maybe about an hour, but eventually you see walking over the hillside, looking a little worse for wear, Ornak Gorhal, where you see his right hand. There is now a metal gauntlet that kind of covers that entire arm, nearly.
Huh.
Do you say anything as he approaches, or do anything as he approaches?
No, I want to wait for him to approach and before I even reveal myself.
Okay. So you're hiding before he actually gets there.
Yeah, preferably from a place a little higher up so that I can see if he's being followed.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check, followed by a perception check. Both of you. Okay. You hide yourself behind part of the dell, doing what you can to mask your footfalls. There is a little bit of fresh falling snow at this time of year, but it's not thick enough to really cause significant footprints. As you hide behind part of the hillside, he comes up. He does not look like he's being followed at all. He looks around cautiously because he's worried that this might be. You get the sense he probably thinks this might be a trap.
At which point I'll come out and reveal myself.
I'll stay hidden.
Okay. He exhales and walks up to you, gets right up next to you, and then he attempts to punch you in the cheek.
I let him.
You let him? Okay.
Yeah.
So he clocks you across the cheek for 2 points of bludgeoning damage, and he says, "Took your damn time."
You want your hand back?
I'll suffice. And he raises his metal gauntlet, and you actually see that the fingers of the gauntlet move.
So, well, that's good. I ate it last night anyway.
Hope you enjoyed the meal.
I'm just making a joke. And I greet him warmly. I'm sorry it took me so long. If I explained where I was, you might not believe me.
Possibly. Did you gain anything of worth?
I show him the sword.
At which point you hear telepathically in your head,
Hey, Kill. That's
What's up?
actually, I don't know if it's coming through to you other guys, but I can't understand that at all.
Yeah, I didn't know a single word you said.
Hang on. What he said was something akin to, works? How droll. And,
Huh.
yeah, the sword's not a fan. And as he looks down at it, as Ornak looks down at it, he kind of grimaces and says, "Elven blade."
The finest blade I've ever wielded, Julie says. And not merely a blade, but an ally. He goes, the blade speaks to me. He goes, if you can believe that. He goes, the magic is strong in this. And I've made friends. I mean, Julie whistles for Dax to come out. For Daz to come out.
Daz, what do you do?
I just stand up from where I'm at or whatever, and I still have my crossbow on him.
Okay. He instinctively reaches for he instinctively reels back. You see there is some red magic of some kind that kind of dances between his fingertips as he instinctively worries himself. But as he watches Julie's relaxed positioning, looking up at you, looking back at Julie, he kind of relaxes a bit, the fire kind of disappearing from his hands, and he says, "Desperate times make strange bedfellows of us all."
He's more than capable. And that crossbow is for show. In any event, we're going to need all the friends we can get if we're going to do what we need to do. What can you tell me? What's I see many tents, many new warriors. Looks like multiple tribes. What's happening?
Gilligan is attempting to assimilate the remaining tribes of the Troll Tides, as many as he can accomplish together under his frozen banner. What he plans to do with such a force, I know not yet. A grand raid against one of the greater cities, one of the greater human cities. But I am uncertain. Over these past several months, we have made several raids against many of the smaller settlements along the Silver Marshes. Successful raids, but our men always on the front line behind his monstrosities. And he utters that word with a little bit of disdain.
What can you tell me about them?
He says, the Frozen Wing pledged themselves to Shargus.
I didn't follow that, Gil.
He says, the Frozen Wing clan pledged themselves to Shargus, which you would know is the orc deity of darkness and sneakiness that hates anything that lives that isn't an orc. Orcs typically consider Shargus to be a divinity suited to pariahs and weaklings, all of them unfit for true roles.
Huh. So he would go to war. He would build a force to go to war with the humans. Yeah, that's madness. He goes, even all the orcs together, from Neverwinter Wood to the High Forest, couldn't take on the forces the humans have once they marshal them.
Depends on how quickly you strike. It is not the marshalling of these forces, what he plans to do on these settlements that worries me. It's how it's being done, and what is being done with it.
No, tell me the story. How is it being done? What's being done?
The choicest cuts of the treasure are hoarded away by him and him, rather than the wealth being shared with the tribe.
Well, wait a second. You say he's got some choice treasure in that wherever he lives?
He hides it somewhere in a burrow that has been dug beneath Chieftain's tent.
Huh. Okay. Does he ever come out of that tent?
Really?
If we were to strike him down, would the tribes fall apart?
He kind of snickers and says, "There have been several other orc leaders, powerful warriors and warlords, that have attempted to strike him down, both in direct conflict and in single combat. He has made toys of them all."
What makes him so strong? What's the source of his power?
I know not. I have never seen an orc of his kind before. Those who have succumbed to him believe he has been chosen of Groomsh. But I am not so certain. Those who
Chosen
have
of
been elevated.
Groomsh?
Those who
You
have
said
been
chosen of
elevated.
Groomsh?
Groomsh, yes.
Oh, I thought they worship the other god.
Those who he has conquered believe he has been
Oh.
chosen of Groomsh.
Even though he openly worships and pushes
His
others
tribe-
to worship the other god.
His tribe openly worships Shargus.
Hey, when you say he doesn't go out of the tent, but when does he go out of the tent? Is there any specific reason for him not to go out of the tent or to come out?
He says,
I mean, I know you orcs don't shower or anything. Hopefully, don't poo in that tent either, too.
he shrugs as if you don't know what you're talking about. And by the way, what language are you saying this to him in?
Common?
Okay,
don't speak
so-
orc.
So Julia and him are both speaking orc. So
Oh,
anything
well,
they're
then
talking about, you wouldn't understand.
I do not know that. Scratch what I said.
Okay. So he, I lost my place. What did you ask him, Julie?
I asked him what makes him so strong. You said no one knows. People think he's chosen of Groomsh.
Right.
And does he ever come out of that tent? I asked what would be a good. Is there ever an opening to which he is vulnerable?
Ornak responds, "He'll leave the tent to watch the fights in the pits. Beyond that, I have not seen him outside of that tent."
Okay. I'm going to ask him about the other warriors or the other leaders who have fought him. We don't have to go into it, but Julie just wants to get a sense of. He probably recognizes some of the names and has a general idea as to how strong they are, just
Sure.
from history.
Sure.
Just because he wants to get a sense as to, okay, other guys have taken them on and lost, but Julie's beaten people, in fighting pits that other people have lost to. But he just wants to get a sense as to where he might stack up against this guy based on the other fighters.
So, I don't have names for all of them. I didn't have my notebook handy on me this week.
No,
But,
it's all right.
He will share with you, in general, that that nobody he is not familiar with he was not familiar with the Frozen Wing clan before they came to Flint Rock into the Evermores. And when they attempted to subdue the Scorched Eye clan, they were withheld for a time under the leadership of believe it or not, of Thodrock. But
Right.
after a point, Thodrock was disgraced in single combat, he will share with you, by the current war chief of the tribe, named Narak Shieldbiter. And Thodrock left the tribe as an exile, much in the same way that you did, and went out in an effort to seek help, reclaim the tribe, and set himself up against the Pale Orc when you happened to come across him in Waterdeep and slew him in the arena. And so that plan was kind of dashed.
Huh.
Narak Shieldbiter, he will share with you, as part of that combat, displayed a extraordinary degree of speed, unnatural for what he has seen in orcs before. Beyond that, he will share with you that after Narak took over, the Frozen Wing clan came again with a much larger force, and Narak opted to ally and basically consider the entirety of the Scorched Eye clan subservient to the Frozen Wing clan. So he remains as war chief of the clan, but he is subservient to the Frozen Wing. Beyond that, he will share with you that the Frozen Wing clan and the White Orc by comparison, Galadrin the White, has defeated the war chiefs of 2 other clans in single combat and have assimilated their clans into his own. And then there are 2 other clans that went to open conflict against him and were decimated, and what remains of them now serve in the dark as slaves for the Frozen Wing.
Huh.
And there are about 1,000 strong under the Frozen Wing's command at the moment.
Wow. Yeah, so a frontal assault is off the table.
Not without an army.
Julie says, I'm good, but I'm not that good. And it doesn't sound like one-on-one combat's going to get us where we need to be. Look at Daz and I say, I think maybe you had the right idea, although I very much doubt a couple of crossbow bolts from a distance is going to actually take this guy down. I think maybe we should wait for the others and see if they're willing to help.
I don't know what you guys have been talking about. What guy? What guy are you talking about?
No, the others, Julie says.
No, I mean you and your friend here. I don't speak orc, so whatever you jibber jabber.
Julie will. All right, so Julie will ask his friend to switch to common so that Daz can and give Daz the Reader's Digest version of what they've been talking about.
Or an extra, he never learned common.
All right, so Julie will then just give Daz in Goblin the because he speaks both the Reader's Digest version and explain that this Galadrin is likely not someone that you're going to take out with a couple of crossbow bolts from 100 yards, and single combat's likely out. So. I think we should wait for the others to arrive and see if they have any ideas, knowing that he's building a force that is going to could possibly challenge some of the larger settlements in the area, like Tribor and Longsaddle. The others might be willing to lend a hand in taking this guy down before he becomes a real problem to the innocents. They place a high premium on that.
Hey, ask your uncivilized friend there. Does this guy ever come out of his tent for whatever reason? I need.
Yeah, Julie will have explained. Julie basically gave me the overview of all that they've discussed so far.
Yeah, I mean, he said he rarely comes out, but I'm just wondering if there's any specific reason, like a time of day or something specific that he's always coming out for.
If that is communicated. Right. It is shared that he comes out only to watch the pit fights on occasion and otherwise never leaves the tent. Food is brought to him. He never goes out on the raids themselves. If he has to fight someone in single combat, they are brought to the pits to him. He never goes out to meet someone else.
That's really interesting, says Julie. If he doesn't go on the raids, maybe we just wait for another raid to leave. And that minimizes the amount of orcs that we would have to face to get to him. Based on the layout, does it look like we could get, and I'm looking at the map now, to that chieftain tent without going through the gate? Like, is it up against the hill? can I get to the other side of that wall and maybe get a hole through the wall or under the wall to get to the tent, or would I have to go through the gate and fight my way to the tent?
The easiest way in would be you would still have to go over the wooden palisade, which is spiked at the top. The easiest way in would be to find some way from the top of the hill to basically fly down past the palisade behind the tent.
Hey,
Right.
boss man, I'm just saying if I can get a good look at this bad guy, I can tell you exactly how strong he is and what we're exactly up against. I just need to get a look at him for about a minute or so.
Is there a spot where we can observe the fighting pits from a distance without being seen? Like up on the hilltop or something like where we work? And is that close enough, Kelly, for him to do what he needs to do?
It's possible, but you're going to have to make a hell of a stealth check because there are a lot of orcs and there are towers that are on position.
Well,
Hey, boss man, why don't you just fly me in like right behind the chief's tent? I don't know how you did it before, but when we attacked those ropers in the cave, or when they attacked us, and I was protecting that elf dude who was running back and forth with the roper chasing him, and he got his robe all in a twist. But I saw you flying in the air. I don't know how you did that, but maybe you could fly me behind the chieftain's tent, and I could poke up underneath and take a look at him.
No, it's too dangerous. We they're not going anywhere just yet. I hate to see this thing end before it gets started.
Okay, I'll sit here. That's the easiest money I've ever made.
We'll bide our time. And Julie says to his friend, "How observant are the guards? If I were to just walk in the gate, or if he was able, if Daz here was just to walk in the gate, what would and just act like we belong there, would they notice?"
He smirks and says, "Would be slaughtered on the spot."
Mm. All right, well, I think we're going to have to just wait. I think if we get the others here and we can figure out a way to get to that chieftain tent from the hillside instead of going through the gate, and we do it on a day or a night when there's a raid that goes out, so that there's fewer orcs, I think that's our best plan. Because if the others aren't willing to help out, then we'll consider that plan B. You and I getting into the back of the tent there and trying something crazy.
Ornak will place his hand on your shoulder, the one that's not covered in metal gauntlet, and say, "Whatever you wind up deciding, know this. If you are the best choice to warn the other villages and to allow them to rally against the horde that is coming. I cannot say where they will strike, but if they are prepared, they can hold the tide back. The more they can succeed against the invasion comes, the greater our chance of being able to strike at the pale one he is weakest." As he throws more and more resources against the raid. He is proud and bold and quite strong, but he is stubborn. Cares little for the lives he throws away.
Julie kind of nods and says, "That makes a lot of sense." So we'll hit Tribor, Yartar, Morbin Shield, Calling Horns, and Long Saddle to start. And then, from there the word should get out. So yeah, because I know it's going to take some time for the others to arrive because it took us time to get here. So we'll spend that time. We'll spend that time. That, you know, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 if you count Griffin's Nest, or 6 if you count Griffin's Nest. Those 6 that surround Flint Rock, and the one across the water from it. We'll we'll go and we'll spread the word as best we can that they should prepare. Let them know that the orcs are massing at Flint Rock. And, hopefully the others arrive by then and we can hopefully talk them into helping us out. As you keep your head down, Julie says to his friend. Wouldn't want you losing any more body parts. He goes, play the role. Act like you've been cowed or bought into the program if you have to. Right now, you're our best source of information. Because I'll signal you again when we're ready to proceed.
He nods and says, understood. Don't take over the other. I must head back. They wonder where I am.
Go. Be safe.
He,
good to see you, brother.
He waves his hand. You watch as his form fades from view.
Huh.
Living sliding door.
Where'd he go?
Living sliding door.
Back, says Julie, before he was missed. Come on. Because we have a lot of riding to do.
Wait, riding? Where are we going?
Goes to warn the humans. Those war is coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, boss man. I mean,
That's as good a TV transition as I can make, Kelly.
Okay. You say, yeah, I don't know, boss man. Joey's already off.
oh,
Sliding door.
So.
No, I'm just being cinematic.
Yeah.
Where we came from, Waterdeep, it's pretty metropolitan. Up here in this, it's the hills of the Billies up here. They don't really like goblins. They'll attack as soon as we talk to them. So, I mean, I think I'm gonna hide out right here and be safe while you go talk to the human.
You're gonna hide out close to the orc tribe?
Well, I don't know if it's any more safe to go where the fucking humans are. All right, you know what? I'll come with you, but I'm not going in their cities, their towns. You can do that, and I'll meet you. I'll wait outside for you. Like, watch your horse or something.
That's fine. I mean, if you're not comfortable, I understand.
Do we have?
I'm human, and looking the way I do, I met a lot of resistance when I first ventured out as well. So I do get it.
So, as you wander out, we'll get to the rest of you guys in a second here. I apologize. But as you wander out towards some of the nearby areas and work to send word out, it's interesting because it's not like it's not like they're going to marshal the forces right away, but you pass on information to a guard or to a government official or whoever you can. And more often than not, they seem to recognize you. And there's a curious eyebrow as you kind of pass by.
Recognize me how?
You're not 100% certain, but the best you can surmise is if the Mad Mage's game that you have been doing within Undermountain has indeed been broadcasting, like he says it has, maybe it's caught the attention of more people than you thought, in many more places than you thought.
Oh, Julie will definitely try to leverage that as much as possible to get in front of the more important leaders.
Okay. So, you're not that famous, but, sorry, you're not Will famous yet, but, you, but, they don't, push you away like, who are you, you smelly bastard, get out of my face. They take your note into consideration, and they're not going to marshal the forces right away, but they'll take the warning, and beyond that, you know you have a limited amount of time before you have to make your way to meet the rest of your companions back in Red Larch. But
Yeah, I'll do as much as I can. And if it looks like I can get the majority of it done, then I'll try to finish up. And if I'm a little late for Red Larch, that's fine. If it looks like I'm not going to get to all of it, or if I get only about halfway, half of the villages, I'll head back to Red Larch more on schedule.
Okay.
I'll take extra time if I think I can get it all done. In other words.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to get to all the way up to Long Saddle by any means. You're not going to be able to get to some of the ones off to the east, like Calling Horns or the Hold or anything. Not Everlund, but you can pass by Yartar and pass on the message. You can pass by Tribor and pass on the message, and have it spread into the rest of the Desarin Hills and whatever else from there. Worst case scenario. But while you're spreading the message and that's going on, for the rest of you who are in Waterdeep preparing to make your way up to Red Larch, you have had gold paid over to prepare for the journey. Is there anything else in the city that you four are doing before you leave?
Yeah, Kelly, remember I sent you a private text last week before we ended?
Pull that up. Was it a text in Facebook or?
No, it was in game.
Oh,
So we would deal with it when we get this week.
oh, okay.
Yep.
So,
So,
one thing that is organized. I have to ask: is this meant to be a surprise?
yes, he
Okay.
doesn't know anything about it.
Okay. Then I'll let you present the surprise as you
Okay.
wish.
So, I guess on the morning we get ready to leave, I send a messenger to go retrieve the surprise.
Okay.
And I wait for everyone to kind of come down, and especially Singe and the team. And I said, we have one piece of business we should take care of now. And I look at Singe and I said, you've been with us for quite a while now. You've proven not only to be a friend but a compatriot, and I think it's only fitting that you share in the profits, not only in our adventure but in our establishment. And I asked the guy to bring the paperwork to make Singe an official partner of Trollskull Manor.
Oh.
And you see a messenger dressed in kind of finery, government finery, step forward with a golden inlaid chest, which opens and has a ribbon-sealed document inside, which he places on a nearby table, pulls out the document, carefully unfolds the ribbon, unfurls the document, pulls out from his bag a quill pen with an ink pot, and lays it next to the document, awaiting your signature.
Oh. Well, this is terribly unexpected. Um, are you sure this is your home?
And it is now your home as well.
Um,
Do Dragonborn even have tear ducts?
I'm not crying.
You don't have to lie to me.
I'm not. Um, uh, you know, um, my family is across the sea, and I've lived a good portion of my life as a wanderer and a adventurer and trying to, do good deeds in the name of my God. Um, I've never really considered putting down any form of roots outside of my clan of dragons. Um, I would be honored to take you up on your offer. And sign the paperwork.
You're signed on as the now 5th partner of the Troll Skull Manor, entitled to 1/5 of all shares and all rights.
Okay then.
Yeah, so now that that's taken care of, let's prepare to head north. Me and Droloff do have one stop. We want to make. I think it's Wamford. I can't even remember the name of the town now. I
It
want to
is.
say it's Contarnesville, but I know we never got a chance to rename it.
Yeah, you failed that
but
check, so it's Wamford still.
yeah, okay. So yeah, we do need to make one pit stop on the way in Wamford. For me and Droloff, and if you guys don't want to follow us there, you guys can head on up to
So
the Red Larch,
I'll
and we can catch up if need be.
I'll remind you that you'll actually wind up, as part of the pathing, you'll actually wind up in Red Larch before you hit Wamford.
Oh, I thought Wamford was southeast of
No,
Red
it's
Larch.
east.
It is, but the path to Wamford goes out Red
Oh,
Larch.
okay. You're right. You're right. All right. Then I'll say, once we get the Red Larch, then we will need to make me and Drop will need to make one quick detour over to Wamford to take care of some personal business, and then we can see what's going on with Julie and whatever harebrained scheme he wants to drag us into.
Okay. Okay then.
Dreloff and Kay, are there anything that you two are doing before you head out in particular?
Nope.
I am not. I will travel alongside them.
Okay.
There's one more thing I want to do, Kelly.
Shoot.
It's gonna be private.
Okay.
So.
I'll let you send that message in
Yep.
private.
Yeah. You continue. It's something we kind of do. Retro.
Okay. So while he's taking care of that, the travel to Red Larch is about a week's worth of travel on horseback. I do need, let's say, K to roll a d20 for me. Okay. So passing along the long road as you continue to make your way back, you guys are slowly but surely able to make your way over towards Red Larch. The weather is kind of stormy, long travel. It's not especially, it's not arduous by any means, but it's not enjoyable weather. You wind up meeting up with a caravan along the way of trade goods making its way up to Tribor. Julie and Daz, as you make your way back down to Red Larch, Julie, make a d20 roll for me.
All right. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, okay. I'm on the wrong page. I'm looking at the map. Like, where are my buttons?
Okay. So, while you and Daz okay. Go ahead and we'll get to you guys here in a minute. I just got the note from Crow. Crow, roll d10 for me.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so
Sounds good.
while you two are making your way back south, there is a bit of a blizzard as you're kind of making your way back south, since you guys are further north. As you kind of make your way along Wyvern Tor, which is the cabal of hills between Tribor and Red Larch, off to the west there, you decide to find shelter against a particularly nasty storm. And as you guys kind of make your way off to the left, looking for a hillside, I will need the both of you to make stealth checks for me.
What?
Okay. Nice rolls. So, as you kind of duck behind the mountainside, you hear a crackling like thunder, or this is like a thunderous blizzard. And as you kind of look off to your left, you hear, and you see a huge stone giant kind of trapezing its way across the hillside. It seems to not notice you, but it is curiously looking around.
I am going to try to remain hidden. I don't want to fight a stone giant.
What about you, Des?
Um. ah. Hey, I think we can take this, boss. I don't.
Just kind of shakes his head and says,
Although I don't know why we
says,
would.
says no. No profit. No profit in this fight.
All right.
It gets closer and closer to your location. It still doesn't seem to notice you, but it is getting close.
Was it
I'm
walking
going to
straight
let
towards
it
us?
walk on by. Yeah, let it walk right on by if it
Okay.
will.
So you hide behind just up to the hillside as quick as you can. You watch as two big stone legs, one lands literally inches from your face as it kind of smashes into the nearby rocks as this creature walks over you. Not on top of you, but over top of you as it kind of wanders into the hillside.
Oh, thank the Lord.
I need one more stealth check from the both of you. Okay, good enough. Yeah, it keeps looking around as if it's lost something or looking for someone. Doesn't notice you, and it just walks on past you further into the hills. Okay, so after about all this travel's time, with only a mild interruption and some particularly nasty weather, you all arrive within the village of Red Larch. Julie, you arrive about 2 or 3 days after the rest of you. After the rest of the companions make their way there, they stay within the Sword and Shield Inn within this village, Red Larch. There, you'll meet for a brief time with Sir Bradford, not the original, the grandson, who is happy to meet with you for a brief time, chat up a bit, figure out what's been going on. You talk to him a bit about Undermountain. He will share with you that life in the valley has been fairly quiet, and there's not been a whole lot going on, which he is very thankful for.
Now, Julie will explain to him that that's about to change and lay out what's going on with the orcs.
Okay. So, Julie, after he meets up with you and does catch up with the rest of you, you all sit down within the local tavern, and Julie lays out all of the details surrounding the gathering of his orcish tribe, what has been happening.
And Julie will say, I can never remember exactly how this guy's name is pronounced. Gellerigran. My reasons for wanting Gellerigran dead are my own. Yes, they don't have to do with stopping an orc horde from decimating the human tribes and the human villages in the area. Yes. But, I can't do it alone. So, yes, if such a thing concerns you, maybe we should all work together to take him down. What say you?
Are you saying this to your party, or are you saying this to...
Well, we're all together in the end, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I've put out word as best I can to the towns in the area, the closest targets, so that they could prepare, but I'm not quite sure how seriously they took me. So Bradford, they might take you more seriously. If you could help with that, that would be ideal. And I explained to them rough outline of the plan that we have of waiting for the raid to go out. The stronger, the more prepared the targets are, the longer and the more resources will be removed from the tribe area, from the hills, the Flint Hills area, allowing us to take down Gelridrang with the least amount of worry. And then I believe once he is out of the picture, the horde will fall apart. Yes. They were never unified. At best, they were uneasy alliances. Yes. But I get a sense that once he's out of the picture, they won't last. They won't last as a single unified force for very long.
And Bradford will say, I appreciate the forewarning, though from what you describe, I believe Red Lot is fortunately far enough away, at least for the time being, as to not be under immediate threat. If you are looking to gain aid and connections to some of the outlying towns that may be able to help you, and he looks over at Treverne and says, I would simply recommend the Diamond Bears.
Who are they? Says Julie. I don't think he's heard of them.
He smiles and says, a fairly prominent adventuring company that has gained quite a bit of a foothold within the Somber Hills. There's more than a few adventurers, such as yourselves, with varying degrees of experience that might have an interest in working alongside for a chance at some good wealth.
I look at Sir Bradford and I
Well,
say, do you know where they're at these days? Other than
He says,
probably Kent being at the tower.
well, the base is in Womford nearby the tower. I believe Will's still there. I don't know how much control he has over the situation at the moment. And I believe Kent is still within his tower.
Yeah. I kind of look at the party. I say, it's not a bad idea, but there might be consequences to bringing them into the fold.
Yeah, the consequence might be that I don't get paid as much as I should be getting paid if I have to split the money with more people.
I said, you know what? You want your money, and I was like, just chill a second there, green ears. And I take a moment and I open my backpack and I pull out this dark navy blue armor set and say, here, you owe me 1,500. And hand him the armor that he asked to be crafted.
Okay. He hands you the mithril plate armor that has been dyed navy blue.
Oh, this is nice.
I said, I asked for pink, but they didn't have any pink dye for you, so you got what you got.
I would have given you a pink on a 10.
I know you would have. I was hoping. I was like, please be roll high. Please roll high. And so this ought to cover your costs for a little while, and then we can talk about settling up what you owe later. You do still owe the forge, a thanks, and you owe the Troll Skull Manor some beer that we traded in for it. We can talk about that later. Now, keep your ears quiet. And then I go back to the rest of the group. I go, the consequence I'm referring to, y'all probably remember a dark-skinned pain in the butt that we've encountered a couple times already. He potentially could be part of the group we're bringing in, because he has an association with the Diamond Bears as well.
Just out of game for a moment. Are we seriously going to get the Diamond Bears involved? I mean, I thought we were going to handle this.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. Literally, you asked him for help. You asked for Bradford. Bradford said, you might want to engage the Diamond Bears.
I'm asking the party. Julie's asking the party for help. Julie
But I
doesn't
mean,
even know
like,
who the Diamond Bears are. Now, if Bradford suggests that, along with us, we go and engage the Diamond Bears and see if they're willing to help, Julie's all for that. Julie wouldn't turn down any offer of assistance at this point.
well, seeing as we have Treverin as a connection, I would say it's probably our best bet if we want to make this simple.
And
Okay.
I will let Julie know, like, me and Droth do have a quick amount of business we need to handle in Womford anyway, so we are heading that way, even for a brief time, so we can at least see who's there and take care of our personal business, as well as, if they can't aid us physical aid in whatever you're wanting to plan to do, at least maybe we can use them to continue to spread the message and rally other troops to our aid, or other cities. They're always willing to help usually. I just want to caution that there could be some consequences there that we were not expecting.
Okay.
My first out of character thought would be like, well, if Julie was on better terms, he could have asked the Zentarum. But no, I got it.
Which I'll throw out there, Daz has, although by proxy, a connection with.
Yeah, but we don't know that.
You don't know that.
I know, and I'm just trying to remember the names in the last campaign. Fortunately, I've slept since then. There was Sir Bradford, the original, worked for somebody.
Lord's
He
War, right?
worked for the
The
Lord's
Lord's
Alliance.
Alliance,
Yeah.
right? So I'll look at the current Sir Bradford. I go, are the Lord's Alliance still around this area? I mean, because they used to provide, troop support and stuff around. Is that another group we could potentially
He says,
get to aid us?
they still have a vested interest within the Somber Hills themselves, and of course, one of the major leading members of the Lord's Alliance, Silvery Moon, does base close to the troll, towards the Evermoors. So, a rising of the orc tribes of the Evermoors is certain to catch their ire.
And I also look at them, and you know the history more than I do. There is a story that my father told me about a tower with flying creatures and flying suits. You know any of the details or anything that might help us? I know it was in this general area somewhere,
He says,
according to the stories.
I'm familiar with the story. I'm afraid that the tower, to my knowledge, has since fallen into disrepair.
Okay.
Last I heard, it may have been used as a nest for manticore.
That would not be exactly surprising.
No. And then with all this additional information, I look at Julie and I say, "What is it exactly you want us to do? You want us to take on this army? You want us to take out this leader? What is it? And how do we guarantee, without you ascending to the throne, or the whatever you want to call the leadership of this clan, from someone else being even worse and taking and continuing the rampage that this guy's doing?"
Well, to that, I can't speak to that. I don't know. Right now, he's the threat. Is there another one like him out there somewhere? Maybe. But this is what I know. I want him dead for personal reasons. You should want him dead because he's a threat to every village and town for leagues.
Yeah,
If
but
he gets,
I'm thinking of all the innocents that you're talking about putting in danger with us trying to take him out. Because I'm sure that there's women and children in your village that are going to get caught up in
yeah,
this.
Now, you would know, Julie, that the women of the tribe are expected to fight just as hard as the men, if not more so. The only exception to that rule is when they are carrying child. When they're carrying child, they are watched over by some of the matron shaman of the tribe, who grow old and are blessed by, the name escapes me now, but it's Groomsh's wife, another venerated orc god. So they're left, unless they're pregnant or they're otherwise older women, they are left there to child rear. The children are of Orcish tribes are taught to fight by age 4, and they are considered adults ready to fight in wars by age 12.
Right. Yeah, look, Julie will simply say, they're in danger now. Once they turn that orc horde loose on the surrounding villages, it's not going to matter what we do. I mean, at least by taking him out, the likelihood of the horde remaining, all these individual orc tribes remaining unified is very unlikely. At best, they were tenuous, temporary allies, in the best of times. So, with his leadership gone, it is very likely that they break up. I'm not looking to exterminate the orcs, because you should know me better than that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about exterminating the orcs. I'm just talking about,
But at the same time, I mean, what other plan is there? Try to put an army together to take them head on. How many innocents will die in that fight? As far as I can tell, this is the least worst solution. If you have a better idea, I'm open to hearing it.
I thought that was actually exactly what he was asking.
No. And I'm saying, I mean, he's the way Julie took that was, we're by putting this plan in motion, we're putting innocents at risk, and Julie's response is they're already at risk. And to as far as the best of I can come up with to minimize losses on both sides.
Gotcha.
Unless we can somehow, kidnap him, take him far away, and prevent conflict altogether, I don't see how we do that. But again, this is why I came to you, because you people are smart. I know you have good ideas from time to time, and I'm hoping that you'd be willing to help. And if you think my plan is not sound, then tell me, and we'll change it.
Really, I'll always support you on what you do. I'm just trying to understand the risk here, because you're not talking about taking out some guy that's in charge of some band of thieves. You're talking about a guy who obviously has enough power, and I'm not talking about magic power, just power to unite, as you said, very unfriendly Orcish tribes together under one banner. That's a very difficult thing to break apart. And then I'll kind of look at Draloff and just knowing he's heard all of this and kind of get a sense of what are his thoughts, because he knowing that Orc tribes decimated his entire family line. I'd like to understand kind of where his thoughts are.
Along the lines of what I'm thinking I'm going to do, or what I'm going to do.
Whatever you were willing to share, I guess, because I'm kind of looking at you, because I have not had to deal with orcs the way you have, and so I'm looking towards you for thoughts and ideas and just your general demeanor.
I believe he wants the racist opinion. No. No, but he wants to use your general thoughts on how to deal with orcs, in the decision-making process.
These nightmarish creatures
Or
are
a horde of
carrying Naga
orcs,
eggs into
as
hidden
it were.
hatcheries. No doubt.
To me, they all should die.
Being prepared upon them. Stop this madness, champion. We need to understand.
And if that's his response, I look at him and say, "And are you willing to stop if we take out the leader?"
If he was the one that sent the raid to kill my clan, yes.
He wasn't. The one who did is long since dead.
Oh, then they all gotta die.
I look over at Kay. Got any thoughts on this?
I don't know enough about Orc Society to make a judgment call on this.
And that's my problem. I don't know enough either. I don't know if taking out the head of the snake is enough to truly disband the snake. Julie thinks it is, but
I guess my question is, I know, from what I know, orcs are a tribe of people that tend to look up towards the head. The question now is, if you remove that head, does everything crumble, or can we quickly mend the issue?
right.
That's what I suggested. And him and some other orc. He had an orc friend come and visit. He said that wasn't going to work.
And
Was
and
never
then,
discussed.
Yeah, so they never discussed who was going to take over once he was eliminated, right? So yeah, I look back at Julie and I say, what are your plans? Let's say we go in, we take this guy out, and everything happens as you suspect it will, with everything fall apart. Someone's going to have to lead this clan going forward. What then?
I think that's a,
Leadership,
go ahead.
no, leadership is decided in traditional ways. Someone will claim it. There may be a challenge. If there is, there'll be a fight, and that will settle it.
Can we not use that
He
now?
But this,
Can we not?
No, no. Julie will explain all the background that he got from his friend. That other orc tribe, the other orc tribes, their leaders and their great warriors have gone up against this guy and lost. And he'll even tie it back to Thodrock, who you saw him beat in the pit. And that's how Thodrock ended up there, is that he get defeated, and the leader who defeated him ended up getting defeated. That's how he came to rule the tribe.
But you defeated Thodrock.
So Thodrock lost to Narak Shieldbiter, who is the current chieftain of your tribe.
Right.
And then
And Narak
Narak
lost to
didn't.
Gazran.
Well, he didn't lose. He just openly submitted.
Right.
He just submitted no contest.
The current chieftain submitted no contest to this guy? Is that what you said,
Yes.
Kelly? I just trying to make sure I totally understand what happened.
That's exactly what happens. So
Okay.
once Narak won and the Frozen Wing clan descended upon them, he surrendered his clan he surrendered the Scorched Eye subservient. No contest.
And I was, Julia, will you share that with us? Because then I have a question. It's like, how does that happen? If the chieftain of your clan is supposed to be the most powerful person in the tribe, how does he just willingly give up his power to someone else that challenged him?
Many reasons. He could have just seen the writing on the wall when the Frigid tribe, the Frigid Orc tribe showed up with, the Frigid Wing tribe rather, showed up with an overwhelming force. He could have done it to save his own people. Because we don't know. I'd love to have a conversation with him myself and find out. Maybe he was bought off. That's possible.
All right. So I have a quick question. And this is
Judging from the brutality with which he rules, it's unlikely that, should he be removed, that the continuing dominance of the Frigid Wing clan would persist. The other tribes would likely splinter off.
okay. So I have a question. Assuming Julie has informed us of, I would assume, pretty much everything that has taken place up until this point regarding his conversation with his old tribe mate and all that. Have you told us all that?
He has, I assume.
That's why I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my question is, as someone that has lived in Orc society, and you've gone around and you've warned the surrounding towns and villages, or as much as you have been able to be on their guard for a potential orc horde. What, as you've lived in the society, what would you suggest would be the most direct way to uh, confront this situation. And the reason I'm asking this is because my first two thoughts are either gather an army and fight a full-out war, try to dispose of him somehow quietly. Is that even possible?
With
Surrounded
me, it
by
is.
his.
You would also
Mhm.
know, Julie, that especially regarding leadership and gains within the tribe, there are two ways in which one climbs the ranks, even to the position of war chief. Both cases are by blood. Either you slay a particularly powerful foe in combat during a raid, or you slay a would-be superior in single combat. One way, the first way is you're seen as being blessed by Grimsh in order to ascend into a higher calling within the tribe. The other way is you rely on your own true strength. So the alternative, the most direct way would be to find some way to to challenge the Geldran the White in single combat.
I would say one day idea I have is if he is truly following Orc code, why couldn't we thin out his subservience first with challenges in the arena? Take out his second, his third, his fourth. Kind of isolate him.
Oh, I got an idea, boss man.
I very much doubt he would allow that to happen. He would likely just kill us and be done with it.
That's something else you have not discussed with your friend.
Yeah. No, he said if we showed up, we would just be slaughtered.
Well, yeah, you asked if you showed up at the front gates. If you just walked in like you owned the place, you'd be slaughtered.
No, I said if we walked in like we belonged there, not like we owned the place. That's very different.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we just walked in and tried to blend in.
Right, you'd be slaughtered because you're not orcs.
Even though it kind of makes my mouth like hurt to add on to the elf's words, it kind of like what he said about taking out his second and third and all his lieutenants. We could take them out in single combat, but when we go in there, we pretend like you're the leader, and look, now you're the leader of all these people that took out his lieutenants. So now your elevation could be like raised up or some shit like that, and now you could challenge him like you're in charge of this strong war band, and he should face you or else lose face. I mean, it's kind of the way Goblin Society works, and I know orcs, they copy goblins because they see us as a superior race and everything, but that's just how things go.
Yeah, Julie's concern is that he could probably get into the arena one-on-one with him, but better warriors and war chiefs have gone up against him and been destroyed. So I'm not sure that I mean, you know, what happens if we do this and then Julie loses? Now we're no better off. In fact, we're probably worse off than before. Now he's even stronger.
I'd say that's an easy answer, Julie. You have never lost. You don't lose this time. Period.
I thought you and Julie. You're talking about another Julie or just you, Julie? I'm confused a little bit.
Champion of Nazjatar versus a outside.
Just, I'm so tempted to pour a drink on your head. No. Not going to do it.
You have to beat my now increased AC to do that.
I don't think that armor's airtight.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We can facilitate. Is that a too big a word for you? We could help you get the chief in the arena alone because, like I said, we'll kill off his lieutenants and then that'll make you a strong chief in charge of it.
Well, there's no guarantee that they're going to, even though I am of the Scorched Eye tribe, there's no guarantee that they will accept me as their leader. The Scorched Eye may. My chances are good that the Scorched Eye may, especially with the allies I have that are still there.
Well, how about
But
you
but the other tribes, it's very doubtful
You don't have to
that
worry
they will
about the
look at
other
me and accept
tribes.
me as their leader.
It's this bad guy that's holding the other tribes together. If you beat him and the Scorch tribe says you're yours, the other ones, what's holding them there? They just go back to wherever and fuck off somewhere.
Well, my question would be, why couldn't you challenge for leadership with the Scorched Eye tribe? Well, if you think that they would be willing to accept you if you won, why couldn't you challenge there and move on from that?
We would have to make it because with me not being orc and having been gone as long as I have, if he can convince them that my challenge isn't a worthy one and that he doesn't have to honor it, then that doesn't help us. We have to do it in such a way that he has no choice but to face me in the arena, if that's the route that we're going to go.
I'll reply with two things. I go, that's the reason for challenging his lieutenants first. And the second is, I've known you for quite a while now, Julie. You've never been afraid of anybody. Why are you afraid of this guy?
I will also throw out there for your benefit regarding challenges. As a human being, you know that despite having grown up in an orc society, you don't fit anything. When a challenge is made, within the tribe, there are two challenges that are honored. There's the challenge of right and the challenge of deed. So the challenge of right is you either have been blessed by portents or signs of a god, you have someone higher up in the tribe who is associated by blood, and that gives you right by strength in combat if you succeed to ascend to that position by blood. And the child by deed is you either slay a particularly powerful foe and then bring back proof of the deed.
So based on that, does Julie even qualify for the challenge of right? I don't think so.
Probably not right. You would have to, if you were going to attempt to conjure the challenge, you would have to bring proof of some miraculous foe slain.
Miraculous foe.
Terrible foe, I should say. Miraculous, maybe not the right word.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Something significant enough that the others would see it as a sign that I was blessed by Grinch.
Right.
But what would that challenge of deed, what would that would basically put me in a position to challenge him?
You would have to slay some gargantuan, terrible creature. Like a dragon, or a giant, or something, especially if it's a particularly nasty foe that has been harassing the tribe.
Do we know of any such?
You would probably have to talk to your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We can try that. I mean, if nothing else, that will at least make it so that he has to accept my challenge. It might give me the standing to challenge him directly. I don't know if it's enough for... I don't know what that buys me in the tribe, necessarily. I don't think just because I show up with the head of something, they're going to come out and say, oh, you know, we should follow him now.
And I look at Julie and goes, is that what you want? Them to follow you when this is all done?
No,
I have a table talk question. The talk between... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The talk between Julie and Killy, has that been Are you, Killy? Are you doing this character that is at the table with us
No.
and explaining these challenges? Okay.
No,
So
all he does is explain. He gives you the Diamond Bears as an option, and he says Red Larch by proxy is probably safe, but he'll, after getting the warning, he'll reach out to some members of the Lord's Alliance, especially in Silvery Moon, and see if he can't do something to help muster a few forces in a worst case scenario.
okay, so this whole different challenges conversation is not something that. I gotcha.
He's not something.
It's
That's
just
not something he
information
knows
that
anything
Julie
about.
knows. Yeah,
Right.
I
Something
sent you a
Julie would know
message.
how to
and
do
that
with the tribe.
he conveys.
You sent me a message?
Julie.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped away from my desk and I went and sat on my couch.
So I will say, you know, these are decisions we can make while we're traveling and have further discussions. If everyone's ready, let's go to Womford. Let's take care of some business, and then we can head up there and reconvene with your ally that's there and see what else we can do.
Okay.
All right. So what do you guys do?
I stand up, give my nod to the. I'm assuming we're in the inn where the Diamond Bird shield's up on the wall still, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of give my nod to that and head on out. And get ready to take draw off over to Womford and say everyone's invited to come along. If not, me and Draloff do need to make this trip.
I'm coming. So
Where on the map are we anyway? I found Tribor, and is there a
So
dot that we're at right now?
go further south than that. Past the long road, where that pink dot is, just south of that, that's Red Larch.
Yep. And then to the east of that is
Womford,
Oh
which isn't
shit!
on the map,
Womford.
but
We
Well,
are
the
far.
end's on the barge white end's actually on there, so.
Okay. Wow, we're further from Flint Rock than I thought. Okay, gotcha.
oh yeah, it's been a bit of travel. All right. So Crow says that he and Dreloff both are heading to Womford. Are the rest of you following?
I will.
I am following.
Yeah, Julie will go.
Okay.
And I look at Julie, I go, this is not a detour that I take lightly. We have to do this. And I look at Draloff based on what he told me. So.
Okay. So you guys all take a rest within the Red Larch Inn.
To the abyss with you.
Make a sleight of hand check for me, Dez. Treverin, what's your passive perception?
14.
Okay. You feel Daz slip a pouch of coins into your back pocket.
I look at him and kind of just smile.
I'll walk away.
Okay. So you take your rest. You get up early in the morning. It's much drier. There's no rain this time around. And after only a couple of days' travel, you make your way over towards Womford. As you travel along the somber hills, much in the same way that the Diamond Bears did ages ago, the valley itself is far more quiet in this day and age. There are no rampaging cultists along here. Have not been for some time. During your travels, you do come across a couple of griffins out on a hunt that seem to be taking down what appears to be a couple of elk. For the most part, you leave them be and let nature unfold. As you arrive within Womford, as you make your way within Womford, to the rest of you, the feature that stands out most is sitting towards the north end of town is this gigantic-ass tower that scales well past the rest of the town's skyline.
Hold on. Close to some pot cuts. I can hear what I want.
What do you want?
While while he's doing that, you guys arrive in Mumford.
And we see it in the
I'm not
distance,
muted. Sorry.
and I look at Droloff, and I kind of point towards the tower and get affirmation that this is what he was describing to me.
It is.
And I say, well, let's go see who's home. And head off to the tower, and if everyone wants to stay in the inn or whatever, me and Drolf will go to the tower ourselves, or like I said, I don't know what's really going to happen, so they're more than welcome to continue to follow with us. But kind of let Droloff take it all in and see if it jogs anything new to light that he was describing to me.
I'll go with him.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Okay, you've been pretty quiet.
Knowing that Treverin knows who the Diamond Bears are and didn't seem to really want to enjoy Isn't's presence, he's going to see if he can tag along with them because he wants to learn more about who the hell these guys are.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is anybody staying behind? Like everybody's going to this human mercenary tower?
I look at the green ears and say, "Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You're with me. Just come on."
As you wander through the town itself, the majority, the townsfolk within Wamford itself seem to be split in three ways. About a third of them seem like they may have lived here their entire lives, or descendants of descendants of descendants. Wamford sits on. In fact, as you pass through the town, you can see what appears to be, on occasion, some ruins of what may have been a former building or something of the sort. It is, in every sense of the word, a rebuilt, gentrified town of booming business. About a third of the town is what appears to be your normal townsfolk fare, people who have lived there their entire lives. About a third of them look to be maybe magi apprentices that are wandering through the town. You can see more than a couple of magic shops that line up the main street. And then there is the occasional, what appears to be adventurer dressed in various garb as they kind of wander around, especially inns, the taverns. There is a local blacksmith that is run by a hardy dwarf. As you make your way up to the tower itself, it sits on the north side of town, is surrounded by this beautiful verdant green garden. The tower itself appears to be of white marble and is at least 5 stories tall, easily 2 stories taller than the highest other building within the city itself. The gardens themselves are surrounding, in the center, a well-cleaned pool of goldfish that are kind of lazily swimming about. There are white marble walkways that surround the garden and the pond itself on the outer rim
I
of the
eat a
tower.
goldfish. Sorry.
You just pluck one out of this. Okay.
But of course you do.
So as you're walking along the tower, there are a couple of apprentices that are kind of looking around, talking to one another, studying. You can see there's what appears to be a gnome paladin walking by with what appears to be a tiefling cleric, who do notice as you just kind of lean down, pluck out one of the goldfish out of the pond, and just swallow it whole. And they kind of give this look of, oh God, and walk on by as if they hadn't seen anything.
What does that taste like, Dragon Man? Does it taste like regular fish?
Indeed it does. I was expecting something more. I've never seen one that was golden before.
Surprised you're not glowing now.
I bare my
where that
teeth
pond
and
is.
try to catch one also.
You try to catch one yourself?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. Okay, you catch one in your hands. It kind of flops about.
I chomp it.
See, you did it the skillful way. My character would have just ducked his head into the water and grabbed one with his teeth.
Yeah. No, I got civilization in me.
Yeah.
I
So
try to
as
look at them.
you bite into this, you hear and there's a female, looks like a moon elf woman dressed in magi robes who says, "Can I help you, gentlemen?"
I turn and look toward. Do I recognize her? It's
Nope,
at
she's new.
all? Okay, she's new. So I said, I need to see Kentaurus.
Oh, hang on. And she kind of puts 2 fingers up to her ear. Oh, yes, sir, right away.
I said,
Well,
come on, Dryloff.
if you'll follow me, gentlemen. And she kind of swiftly turns around and makes her way towards the tower itself.
So I follow her until we get towards Kentaurus, and then I'll make an introduction between Dryloff and Kentaurus and the rest of the group, and say, Dryloff, why don't you sit down and talk to Kentaurus about what you told me, and then I will quickly disappear from sight for a moment.
Okay. So as you make your way within the center of the tower itself, the first floor spans quite high to about 15 feet, and there are along the walls and lined up in different columns a huge library, and there are more than a few apprentices. I don't know why I keep saying apprentices. Moving across the books, ladders in place, kind of fidgeting through, doing all sorts of different research. There is a center desk right dead center as you enter past the double doors that lead into the tower itself. An older woman that you recognize, a human woman named Danny, who is just keeping an eye on things, gives you kind of a nod as you walk by. As soon as you pass her notice and you kind of say all this off to the side to Draloff, you just kind of slip away from the group as they are escorted towards Ken's place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, I stay long enough to make the introduction so Dryloff can talk to Kentaurus. But as soon as that's done, I say I have some personal business I need to tend to, and I'll be right back, and then I will disappear.
Okay. So in that case, the in order to get to Kent's office, he, unless you're a member of the tower, you wouldn't know this. He's not actually up in the tower. He's in a basement. So you make your way to an arcane platform that goes straight up and down. There is room straight up and down in the tower itself. She makes her way, pulls out a piece of silvered chalk, and draws the symbol of a bear along with a down arrow, and the platform that you're all standing on descends down towards the floor. There are a couple of different offices, looks to be mostly meeting rooms and stuff that have been built into the rock underneath of Wamford. And as you're escorted towards Kent's location, you can see that his office, he has this grand oak desk that dominates the center of the office, as well as the depiction on the center of the floor, which is entirely made out of some sort of crystallized glass, is the symbol of a diamond bear shape. On the either sides of the desk itself, you can see various alchemical and magical equipment that has been set forth. And as an aside to you guys, not that you know what this is, but you do not see the Winds of Fate. It's hidden away somewhere else. But in the midst of this, you see Ken kind of pacing back and forth as you enter into his chambers. He gestures to a couple of seats. In fact, as he waves his hand, they're pulled forward towards the desk for you to kind of sit in. As you make those brief introductions and slip away, Kent will nod and ask the woman who escorted you down there, the elven woman, who will introduce herself as Arabelle, to escort you back up to the main floor.
Yeah, and I'm specifically going to the floor where the incident happened to lay some flowers.
Okay.
That's
That is going
specifically what I'm doing.
Okay, that is going to be all the way up on the top floor.
Yep, that's what I figured. That's why I said I'm doing it while Dryloff is taking care of business with Kent and to see if we can't help him out.
Okay. So while he goes off and does that, the rest of you are brought forward towards a human man, surprisingly young looking, probably in his late 20s, early 30s. He is wearing some gray wizard's robes, and has in his hand has nearby, I should say, a very gnarled-looking wooden black staff. And he says, "Well, nice to meet you. What can I do for you?"
I believe this is Dreloff's time to
Yep.
shine.
Oh, I didn't know if it was my turn or their turn because I
Nope,
thought you
it's
said
all
they
you.
were-
Yep,
Okay.
all you.
Okay. I didn't know if they were separated. Okay. So is it just me and Kent in the office?
Nope. It is you as well as everybody else. I assume everybody's gone with you guys. So it would be everybody except for Treverin, who is left after making introductions.
Okay.
You can ask him if you want to talk to him alone.
No, I'll talk to him in front of them.
Okay. What do you say?
Look at him and say, "You look like the guy from my vision I had."
Well, it's not the first time a dwarf's come on to me that way, but I'm kind of in the middle of business here.
That's something I'd say.
I'm not even asking on that one.
Gotcha.
Oh dear God.
We need to understand
So,
that the Naga are harnessed.
in my vision,
This telemancy beacon
you had an
is
item that could help me take out a blood oath I made over my clan's destruction.
At the mention of this, he kind of furrows his brow and he says, "Oh, well, what kind of oath?"
To get revenge from my clan. To wipe out the clan that wiped mine, so to speak.
Okay. And Julie, you're in the room when you hear this. What I don't know is whether it's actually ever been communicated that it was your clan that wiped out his. I don't think you've ever actually communicated that, Unholy. So, until then, I'm just leaving that there. Ken kind of furrows his brow.
Truly, I don't think it was ever explicitly said. You see Julie just kind of like furrow his brow and, take more of an interest. But he doesn't seem to be putting two and two together that you're actually talking about his tribe.
Okay. Kent also kind of furrows his brow and he says, "Well, it's the first I've heard of myself being some ported vision deliverer. As far as this item goes, well, we got all sorts of magical things in our possession as members of the Diamond Bears. I
My
might be
ears
able
perk up.
to. I might be able to lend you a hand. Not sure in what direction, but I tell you what, I got a particularly nasty problem that's been haranguing me. If you take care of my problem, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours."
That's a deal. What is your problem?
He says, "Well, in the nearby hills, there's off to the east, near the to the west, fairly close to the Crypt Garden Forest, there is, well, they used to be the ruins of some sort of manor, and those ruins housed in that manor a particularly nasty shadow dragon. Now, that shadow dragon has long since been dealt with, and those ruins have been, for the longest time, nothing but ruins. But my scouts tell me that within the last week, a mansion upon those ruins has just mysteriously showed up. I don't know what caused it to be there, but that's particularly powerful magic. And when I sent a team in to investigate, they all disappeared."
I look at the group and ask them if they want to help me with it.
I'll say, are you sure the Shadow Dragon is dead?
He says, "Well, Pretty sure.
How sure?
I saw it die myself.
Okay then. I, I'll look at the rest of the guys and be like, I don't see how this could hurt. While we're sitting here talking, um, i certainly Dryloff needs help, but when we're done conversing about your problem, I'd like to ask a few questions, and then but I would be willing to help. I don't know if the rest of the guys would be.
All you gotta do is tell Julie there's loot. He'll help.
I am 100% down to help you with whatever you need.
Okay, so who else am I forgetting?
Right
Baron,
now, Trevaron's not
Julie.
there.
Trevaron's not there. What about you, Daz?
So we're signing up to help a dwarf. Is that what you're saying here?
Well, it's a mansion that
It
grew
hap-
out of nowhere.
It happens,
Magical
Julie
stuff.
says to him.
In the words of
Dwarves.
Julie, kill things, take stuff.
Dwarves and my superior race of people definitely aren't friends.
Yeah,
They try to take
Julie,
over our tunnels and stuff.
Julie will agree to help, but he wants to know help what? What needs done?
We have to go figure out why the mansion mysteriously appeared.
Ken says, find out what's going on, why that mansion mysteriously appeared, and honestly, I just like my boys back.
And
So
if that's
you
not
want a
possible,
corpse retrieval?
What's that?
He said, "Do you want a corpse retrieval?"
If that is indeed the case, I'd just like to know that what happened.
Daz, there could be some good stuff. It is a mansion.
All right, I'll do it for double share and first pick.
We'll be leaving Daz behind. Even as good-natured as my guy is, you could have no treasure or equal treasure.
Okay, you know what? I'll do it for equal share, but first pick stays in there.
No. Equal.
Equally first pick? Okay, it's a deal.
God,
What the
that
hell
just
was
sounded
that?
like my character.
Julie will explain to you in Goblin that when it comes to items, it goes to whoever can use it the best or the most.
Well, I mean, I understand, Orc Man. I know I can use any item because I can use the gold that I sell any item for. That's totally.
That's the best way for him to
Yeah.
use an item.
It's a hunter weapon.
So assuming that Trevarin says yes, and I'll say to Kent, we will certainly go check this out. It's not too far from here, right? Our other business is kind of pressing, as well.
He says, you have to ride back towards Cryptgard, and it's a couple of days' travel
Okay.
to the west.
And without Trevarin there, I'll also throw out the fact that we also have some other issues going on north of here that we're trying to wrap up some loose ends before we head to take out this first, to deal with this rather important threat of our fighter friend here, Julie. It seems that there are orc tribes massing together under. Give me a name.
Eladran the White.
Illigdran the White, and we were informed by Sir Bradford that you and the Diamond Bears may come in handy in this particular situation. Um, I, I don't quite know yet how you would come in handy, but maybe you have some ideas as to how we could engage your services and possibly um, oh, what's the word? A creative way for dealing with our problem. And I would let Julie explain that to him if Julie was so inclined to do so.
Yeah, and Julie will give him the broad strokes.
Okay. You watch as Kent kind of nods and says, "Well, never underestimate a creative wizard with good magic. I got connections in the Lord's Alliance, same as Sir Bradford there, and I bet I could get some folks in the Silvery Moon army to work alongside and muster quicker. Of course, my connections in the Diamond Bears would allow us to provide a good chunk of hardened casters and fighters, the front ranks, in the inevitable case of a direct conflict. But he talked creative solutions. What do you have in mind?"
Well, several things present itself to us at the moment. One is that perhaps our friend Julie here could maybe challenge for leadership of his clan, although we've been made aware that simply one does not simply walk into an orc horde. Um, but he does have ties to one of the. What he was raised by them, and he has ties to one of the clans there. Um, I'm
That's
not,
unusual. Go on.
and I can, like I said, Julie can expound upon that if he wishes. Um, but with that as being our only inroad at the moment, we're unsure as to how we can take advantage of it exactly. Because we do not think that he would be allowed to challenge for leadership directly of his old clan. Um, and uh, there is another matter of possibly doing a momentous challenge to impress them enough to, I guess, earn their favor in maybe making an actual challenge for the leadership.
So, I get what you're saying, but what do you want from me then?
Uh, well, it would probably help if when we go to do whatever we need to do up there, that it is not the entire horde that we are walking into. Is there any way that we could possibly get some sort of distraction to maybe lure some of the other tribes away from the horde? So
He
it
stops
is.
and thinks for a minute and says, "I bet I could create something of a distraction." "Sure,
Okay,
I got something up my sleeve that might work."
well then, if if that's a possibility, and I'll ask Julie, do you think that's a good idea, or?
Do I think? I mean, but to what end the distraction? What are we talking about?
Okay, did I not just explain that?
No,
Not
I
the
was
details of the
listening, but I mean,
distraction itself.
yeah, like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not clear. I apologize. I mean, I was listening, but I'm still not clear as to why.
The point was, if you had to
Well,
go up there, that you didn't have to face the entire fucking horde on its own.
no, but no, but if they go out on a raid, the majority of them will be gone already. I thought I
You know
had
what?
explained that.
Kanzaris, never mind the fucking distraction.
No, no, I'm.
No, I'm
I
done. I'm done.
What do you? The insinuation is that the distraction that is provided draws away the orcs from the majority of them towards whatever distraction. Say an illusory dragon attacks. Well, the orcs got to go deal with that, and that creates enough of a distraction in order to, ideally, I presume, allow you guys to slip in.
Are we?
We need to understand.
All right. So when would we be using the distraction?
Use this
After the raid goes out and they're already thinned out, we would thin them out even further with the distraction, or we wouldn't wait for the raid and we would just rely on the distraction to draw most of the forces away.
I'll be back in a minute.
That's what I wasn't clear about.
I got you. I'll be back in a minute. I gotta go let the dog out.
Yeah, that's the only part that Julie wasn't clear on. He thinks it's a worthwhile idea. Yeah, I mean, anything that would help us get in without, and give us an opportunity to confront Gallagher the Light directly would be of benefit. Whether or not the raid has gone out at that point.
Right. Kent will say, well, I can provide a distraction and provide some of my forces in order to keep them occupied. Try to organize something along those lines, but we wouldn't be able to hold an entire horde for an extensive period of time. Now, that, from what you're told me, your clan that you apparently have been raised in is part of the fighting forces, and I can't guarantee their safety if we go that route. Now, I can create a more non-lethal distraction that will at least draw the forces away, but that's not going to give you a whole lot more time.
Like what? Julie will say. I mean, give me an example.
He says, I could work with my magi to create a significant illusion, a significant image that can create the illusion of a massive army moving to attack, or a massive creature that threatens the camp, and try to draw these guys away. Now, not to diminish you, but orcs aren't particularly smart, and it's likely they'll chase this illusion for a while before they realize what's going on.
That's what I've been telling him.
After a point, they'll either figure out it was us casting it and go after us, which I'm not super worried about. We got our own means of escape. Or they'll make their way back. Point being, they're not going to be held at bay by this illusion for super long. There's no way I can give you an exact time frame. It depends on how long it takes for them to realize the jig is up. Now, if I got folks in there fighting them, that's going to keep them occupied. But it means deaths, too.
Yeah, I'd like to minimize that as much as possible. The frontline troops are the tribesmen I'm most concerned about. But still, the distraction would be welcome. We would have to time it in such a way that we could be in position to sneak in once the distraction was laid, so as to, get the most time value out of it. Maybe we could figure out a way to get us from the hillside down to the palisade behind the chieftain's tent while that distraction's going on.
Ken will say, I can make that work.
Okay.
From there, you're on your own, though.
If only we had a flying carpet. No, that's fine. That's fine. That would be very much appreciated. But we would have to work out a way to signal you to begin the distraction once we were in position to take advantage of it. But I'm sure we could do that. Once there, I can challenge Galadran directly, and Grimshwilling defeat him. The rest is very uncertain, but it must be better than a combined, coordinated orcish horde terrorizing the area. Does anyone have an idea as to how we can get from the hillside to the interior of the log palisade behind the chieftain's tent? I mean, could we do some sort of maybe a zip line or something like that? Like get some rope and slide down?
Are you? If you're explaining this to everybody else while they're in
Yeah,
there, Kent says.
I'm asking the folks who are assembled. Yeah.
Kent will say, based on what you described to me, I can get you inside. Don't worry about that. Do this favor for me. I'm willing to set up the distraction. I can provide you a means of getting in. But once all that's set, you're on your own. I can only hold them off for so long.
No, that's fine. I'm in, says Julie.
So, are we doing this before or after we're looking for your lost human?
There's no deal until you figure out what's going on with my lost boys.
Oh, and didn't you say earlier about when we go look for your boys, you got a lot of equipment here we can choose from to go look for your boys?
If you're asking for my help in orchestrating a raid on some orc chieftain, that's the exchange. You help figure out what happened to my boys, figure out what's going on with this mansion. I'll get you inside and provide you a distraction to do whatever you need to do. That's the deal.
I'll need one more thing, says Julie, if I'm going to help you. I need to let my friend on the inside know that help, there's going to be a delay before I can get back to, with the help. I have to let them know what's going on, basically, what our plan might be. But it's weeks away by riding. Do you have any way, do you have any magics that you can wizard a message to him or something like that?
He says, I'd have to know the guy personally.
It's not going to work.
He says, if it helps, I can get you to Red Lodge. That'll get you closer to the mansion. I can even teleport you up to Tribor.
Yeah, because then from there I can meet up with him and deliver the message myself before we head off to the mansion.
All right. Well, I think you probably want to get a hold of Treverin and let him know of everything that's going on. Then,
About that time, I'll probably be coming back down.
Okay. Before we get to that, though, you make your way all the way up to the 5th floor while they make their way down. As you make your way up to the secluded study that was separated from everything and watched where the incident happened, the place looks as it did that very day, and everything's been put back in place as if nothing had ever happened. You look around at the secluded study as you remembered it. There is no trace of your mother's belongings in what was her room. Everything's been cleaned out. The room has been left empty. And the study itself looks the same as it did the day that you both moved in.
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of calmly, sit around the area, and I put some flowers down, and kind of not. I don't know if there's anyone in earshot in the study or if I'm up there alone, but basically mumbling under my breath that I will figure out what happened and I will make this right, and then I will get up very slowly and kind of walk back the head back down.
Make a perception check while you're doing this.
Okay.
You hear, and as you kind of get up to leave, and in the shadow of the window, on the top of this floor, you see flying out towards the sunset is what appears to be a flock of ravens.
Interesting. Okay. Do I see what direction they fly off? What direction they go?
Towards the sunset.
Do I
Which would be to the west.
Yeah. Do I sense anything unusual about these flock of ravens? That I mean, they just came out of nowhere and flew off.
Nothing that stands out to you. Just
Okay.
something you can't help but note.
Okay. All right. Noted.
Kent, while you were away, the discussion was essentially that you take care of this favor for Kent, investigate this matter and everything. In exchange, he'd be able to provide a significant enough distraction to distract the orcs. The option was either a distraction that involved combat, which would involve deaths, but distract them for a longer time, or a distraction that would draw the orcs away with next to no deaths, but it would distract them for only as long as they realized that everything was just for show. And Julie has personally opted towards the lesser of the casualties. And Unholy, you've been kind of quiet in all of this. Is there anything you want to add?
Nope, I just want to get the favor done where I can talk to him about mine.
Okay.
And I might have a side conversation with Julie at a later time.
Okay. So after this discussion is done, you guys make your way outside. Kent will say, if you're in need of some fresh arms or something, you're welcome to swing by. I can, by the company, I can set word up if you need some fresh stuff.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at this stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to give you magic items or any of that shit, but if you need a couple of healing potions, maybe a new spear or something.
You lost me. And I'll walk away.
I look around, see if anyone else needs anything. I'm personally good. I've stocked up from earlier, so I don't need anything right now.
I'll follow everybody else if they're on the way out.
Okay.
So didn't Kent say he's gonna teleport us to one of the cities?
He said he could teleport you to Red Larch.
I look around, yeah, because I wasn't there when he said that, so I'm looking around to. Assuming someone will stop me from getting ready to make the trek
Go
back
my
to Red
horseback.
Larch and say
I'll grab
something.
you by the arm as you see you try to walk away. No.
I
Okay.
look at him, what?
Big strong wizard. Poof one place, poof another.
Why you talk like Julie?
I mean, like, I'll kind of look back and see if Kent's over there and say, having some fun with my guys, huh?
Pretty good fun themselves, I think.
So. Alright. So, I'm ready to be teleported unless y'all wanted to go talk to Will, but, I mean...
Okay. Is there any other business you guys want to do while you're within one?
Well, don't we have to?
Nope, not I barked the dog.
Don't we have to go? Would it be since I missed it? Would it be easier to teleport the Red Larch and then go to the what do you call it, or?
Yeah, Red Larch is closer to the mansion, I
Okay.
think. That's what was
Yep.
said.
Fair enough. All right, muting because I'm eating.
So, unless there's anything else, you are escorted to the 4th floor, which is a teleportation nexus. There are several circles that are set in place. Kent will escort you to one. There are several Archmagi that are kind of standing by, keeping an eye on things, who greet Kent as he walks by. He pulls out some white chalk, draws a rune upon the ground. You're given 6 seconds to essentially rush into it, and you find yourself standing within the Lord's Alliance offices of the Red Larch. You actually arrive in there kind of late at night, so the offices are actually closed. So you kind of quietly step outside as you begin to kind of make your way. Now, if you're heading straight for the mansion itself, it'll be middle of the night by the time you get there.
Julie will say, I have to warn my friend that we have this errand to do before we can deal with Galadran. So I'll be gone for the night and come back as soon as I can. Then we can head for the mansion.
As a note, Julie, it will take you like a week and a half to get up there. By comparison, the mansion is from Red Larch about 6 hours ride.
Forget it. We'll try to get this done quickly.
I will chime in and say, Julie, let's just go to the mansion. Let's take care of business there. We don't have to backtrack. I have a way of reaching Kent without us having to go back. We can go there, take care of this, and continue northbound towards your situation. We just need to make quick work out of what we do at the mansion.
Yeah, Julie just kind of nods. He's not happy about it, but he agrees that there's really not much else to do.
Okay. So are you heading straight out?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is scared of the dark.
Give me a minute. I can drag your token way up. Ignore everything you see for a few pages.
It's a lot of black.
Good.
Well, I heard, Kelly, that they're putting in a new dynamic lighting patch.
They have it on the
alpha test. Yeah.
They have it on the dev server right now. I expect it'll launch here in a about a month, maybe.
Yeah, Carlos, one of the guys who's working on it, is supposed to do a demo of it. When I see him post that video, I'll share it with you.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just post in D&D chat channel on Discord.
Yep, we'll do.
That is the wrong marker for me.
Yes, it is. Hang on. I created this a while ago.
Oh, you mean the horse's ass? That's the wrong marker? Oh, never mind. You're talking about the other one.
Nah. Give me a minute. It's loading it. Still the wrong. Damn it. Error. Okay. So, as you make your way in the dead of night, you make your way over towards the very edge of the Crypt Garden Forest, which is an old forest. As you kind of ride up along the street here towards this interesting mansion, it seems to be, by every degree, a fairly picturesque-looking, expensive-looking mansion that has been set up here. You can see it is 2 stories tall with a tile roof that kind of slants down in both directions. There is no evidence of an attic per se. You could see that you can't see anything inside the windows themselves. They appear to be possibly frosted. It's hard to say, but you can make out some very expensive-looking silk drapes beyond them, although they're kind of hard to make tell any of the difference. In front of this mansion, you can see there are some shrubberies that look to be somewhat well kept, as well as a couple of gardens, one vegetable, one flower bed off to the side.
Okay.
And sitting in front of all of this, you see a carriage that is drawn by one horse, and the horse is just kind of sitting there.
Anything special growing in those gardens?
You'd have to get closer to inspect them.
Let's do that. Oops.
It smells really good.
Sure it does.
I want to approach the horse and carriage. Does it look familiar? Does it have any markings on the carriage or something that would tell me why there's a carriage sitting out here?
Make a perception check.
90 seconds? What do you do?
As you're kind of looking around, at the carriage itself and the horse itself, nothing stands out about it. It seems to be just a horse-drawn carriage. You'd have to dig into the carriage itself to find anything.
A test of your resilience is in order.
You know, while he's looking at the guard, I'll take a moment to climb into the carriage and just poke around, see what's around.
Okay, make an investigation check, actually. You don't find anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let's kind of look around and walk back out. Like, alright, well, not sure why this is here.
Okay. Julie, right now you are next to the vegetable garden. Go ahead and make a nature check. As you're kind of peering around at some of the vegetables, you can't help but note that growing in with them is a poisonous herb called rotten.
All right, I will not touch the herb. I will leave it alone, but I will point it out to the party so they're aware of it.
Okay. And with 15, you know that rotroot is dangerous if ingested.
So then I won't ingest it.
Are there any markings on this wagon?
There wasn't any found by Treverin earlier. I will allow you if you want to make a perception check.
I'm not going inside. I'm just looking.
You see, kind of carved into the back of the wagon itself, there is a symbol of what appears to be a mace, but at the head of the mace, there is a human skull.
Hey, everybody. Does a mace with a skull on the top of it mean anything to anybody?
Would I have any idea what that is?
Make a religion check. You surmise that it is probably a symbol of some sort of evil creature, but you don't know who.
May I make a religion check?
You certainly may.
First
If the
time
paladin doesn't know, or the clerk doesn't know, then nobody knows.
Well, that's not true. Oh, did they change the background? Oh no, it just loaded wrong.
All right.
You know that is the symbol of Orcus, the demon prince of the undead.
I was gonna say, Kentaurus didn't really know who ran this mansion, did he?
All you knew is that the mansion kind of mysteriously sprung up here in what was once the ruins of a mansion. And
So-
he sent a party of diamond bears to investigate, and they never returned.
Does this concern me?
A little bit.
I guess what do we? I'm gonna ask Singe, what does he know about the Demon Prince? Like, what factors does he go, like? What does he go by? What's his rules?
That's a fair question.
So Orcus is a demon prince of the nine hells that believes life is too loud. All he wants is peace and quiet, and he believes peace and quiet can be best obtained by death and undeath. He desires to see all life quenched, and the entirety of the multiverse transformed into a gigantic necropolis solely by undead creatures under his command.
I will immediately ready my weapon.
Um,
He kind of looks like a winged version of Ganon.
would it be the carriage is parked out near the front of the house, or by the front of the mansion?
The carriage is parked by the front of the mansion.
So knowing how he hates noise, I suggest we gently rub the door rather than knocking on it.
I was thinking the complete opposite. I'll be completely honest with you. I was gonna point at Draloff and point at the door and say, "Go for it." I was gonna send the loud drunk Dorfin first.
I'd say Draloff's call. We are doing this to help him out.
I'm gonna move out of the way if he's contemplating that over here.
Look, we
Oh
know-
no,
I
he
took the
said
brunt of
that-
his last attempt
He
at
said
breaking
nine
the door
circles of
down.
hell. We need to be quiet.
Telemancy beacon to send over any
Well, he said he doesn't like loud. He doesn't like life because life is loud. So I was like, "What's going on, blazing?"
To be fair, I don't know that I've told Draloff that.
Well, I did just now.
Oh.
I'm gonna hide around the back of this wagon while they're talking this crazy shit.
Can I just say, by the way, that every time you say you hide now, I get a picture of that fucking cat.
So,
Draloff, you're
So
good
Orcus-
at opening doors.
Orcus is beyond just hating he hates life beyond just hating life. It also does enjoy watching other people suffer.
To be fair, we don't know that this is his carriage. We just know that it has...
It's unlikely that this is Orcus's personal carriage.
Right.
Move the door to see if it opens.
Okay, it opens with a creak. Inside, you see an opulent foyer complete with a grand staircase that ascends up towards the second floor in both directions. There is a grand skinned rug. It looks like the head of the rug may have been lopped off that decorates the center of the floor. There are several swords that hang on stands on the sides of this entryway. You can see there are two tables near the front. Please don't draw faces on my shit. Damn it. I'm already insecure about my drawings. You don't have to turn shit into a face.
The worst part is now we're gonna walk in the house and that's actually gonna open like a mouth.
Yeah, don't step on the rug.
Don't tempt me.
Well, it's not me. I don't even know how to do that. So
I'm sorry,
I
I
know
saw
who
the
it was.
face
It
and I
was
couldn't
Julie.
unsee it.
I know which color you all are. I can see it at the bottom of the screen. Anyway. Grand opulence and foyer. There are doors leading to other areas off to the side. You can see these two end tables on either side of the staircase, underneath of which are these two wooden chests.
Is anyone gonna go inside? Or do you see any of the humans from just right there? And we can call this mission done.
I doubt we see, he described what we could see.
Is the room lit?
Nope. It is pitch black.
I will put a bonfire in the center.
Okay.
On the rug.
On the rug?
Yes. Yes.
And get on my
Yeah, that's not gonna. What could possibly happen?
I should also say that there are 2 sets of armor on either side. That's what those 2 circles are back there.
So
So
you
you said
catch the rug on fire.
You catch the rug on fire.
Yes. You didn't say the mansion was made out of wood, so I'm assuming it's stone.
Hiding behind the shrubbery.
It's really not.
It's really.
Well, if anything, he's the Lord of the seven, one of the 9 layers of hell. So hopefully he'll appreciate a little bit of fire in his home.
I didn't say Orcus was here.
I know, but it's still someone who worships him. Who knows? Also, good choice of music.
So what you're saying is, you're trying to please the undead god.
Only so I can get close enough to stab him in the face.
Okay.
This is fire. This is what this fire is.
Hey,
Whoosh.
can you see the room now? Is it illuminated?
Yes, it's illuminated.
Cool.
Those of you who can't see in the dark can get a better sense of the inside.
I will turn around and go, "You're welcome," and keep walking. So you said there's 2 suits of armor in here?
Yep, those are the 2 circles up there.
The eyeball's up there.
Kelly, do we get a sense that this fire is just going to completely spread and engulf the mansion?
Not if you deal with it. If you want to light up the damn mansion on fire and just let it sit, that's an option.
That seems like way more of a Dreyloff or a Julie plan to me. In fact, I didn't expect that from Jay. It was a little bit.
That's something I would have expected from Julie. That is something Julie really wanted to do.
No, not particularly. He's uncivilized, but he's not like insane.
I'm making a reference to something. That's something I would have expected that to do. That's something I really wanted to do, Double D.
I guess. Let me stop farming Xanathig for a second. Zoom in here. I'll enter.
Okay.
No, check out that door.
Okay.
House
It's a
is
door.
casually burning down. Opens door.
I don't have any immediate way to put out that flame. I could add to it by trying to, or maybe I could cancel it out with my dragon's breath.
So you're gonna fight fire with fire? Okay.
Well, it's on the carpet, right?
Yes, the carpet is on fire.
All right.
Yes.
Let's just grab the carpet and pull it outside the fucking building, so we don't burn ourselves to death.
So you're gonna pull out a flaming carpet?
The
Yes.
dragon who's probably immune to flames is, yeah.
I'm resistant to it.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's not so heavy that you can't pull it out, but you are gonna take 1d8 fire damage as you pull it out.
All right.
So 5 reduced to, if you're resistant, to 2 as you pull this fiery rug outside. Kay, you watch as it just gets pulled out. Past near the shrubbery. The shrubbery's on fire now. And you just kind of pat it out on the marble. Pat out the shrubbery. It's all burnt. The entire aesthetic of the front garden is ruined. The horse isn't even spooked a little bit, but
That disturbs me more than you know.
he who managed to get the rug out of there, and it is no longer on fire.
Okay, right on.
Did
And now we're
anybody
back
check
in
to see
pitch
if the
black,
horse
right?
was a
'Cause
horse?
that was what was lighting the room, correct?
And now you're in bitch black again. Yes,
Okay.
I'll
Alright.
cast this.
that's a lot more sensible. Thank you, Kay.
I make a bonfire. You know, the best part is, unless it was a spell, was that a spell that you cast, or was it?
It's a
Yes, it
cantrip.
was.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
Cantrip.
because I could see this kind of like, so he like takes a like 5 minute break and does a castaway in the middle of the room while like we're all standing there.
It's just a cantrip, so I can keep casting it. That's my favorite spell.
All right. I'll right now I'll pull out the dwarven hammer and and you know, invoke the magic word and also cast light on that.
Okay. You now have some light sources that don't involve burning a house down.
Yeah, Julie will also activate Terrorize Light.
So you have a lightsaber.
Bzzz.
I guess
Tiralai will say, "Well, this is interesting. Very gauche."
I'm going to approach the
Who said that?
You didn't hear that.
Oh,
I'm going to approach the statue, or not statue, armor. Wait, is
Mhm.
the armor here or is it here?
Nope. That's an end table with a chest underneath of it. This is the armor.
Um, checking for traps. I'm going to actually pull out the is like the chest move like free move like under it, like just placed under it, or is it part of the table?
It is not part of the table. It just lies underneath the end table. It looks like you can move it.
All right. Again, checking for traps. I'm going to slide it out from where it is.
Okay. It's a fairly large chest, but you're probably strong enough that you can get it out of there.
Um, assuming I've not seen anything, I'll open it.
Okay. Inside, you see a collection of gems.
Okay. Um, do I think that they're real?
You'd have to pick them up and inspect them.
Hmm. Before I do that, specifically focusing on said gems, I'm going to cast this. Because I don't
Okay.
trust it.
So casting that, the mansion itself, the outer edge of the mansion has this aura around it. The chest itself does not.
And the gems don't seem to either, I assume.
They do not.
With that, I will kill the things and take their stuff, Julie. And say you may want to come over here and take a look at this. I wouldn't take any of it yet, but just note it for later.
what'd you find over there, Dragon Man?
Looks like gems.
Oh, I'm a jeweler. I'll take a look at that.
To me, I'll get work. That's your father.
Julie will telepathically reach out to Tiralai and ask Tiralai if any of these gems interest it, since it has an affinity for gems. And it can tell me what the value of them are.
Okay. One other thing I forgot to mention. The armor also glows with magic.
Oh, okay.
As do the swords on the stands near the front door.
Any particular kind of magic?
Conjuration.
Would it be fair to say that I would think that there may be some way of them coming to life?
Excuse me, not conjuration, transmutation.
Oh.
And go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Yeah, hold on one second. Dodging this. Wake up. Arcana.
So I'm going to use my jeweler's tools, that little eye thing, put it in and look to see if these gems look real.
Okay. So Singe, as you're putting 2 and 2 together, and Daz, as you're reaching in to grab at these gems and use your jeweler's tools, a tongue wraps around your hand, binding you, and the chest slams down on top of your arm.
Oh, someone
Because
found a
it's a mimic.
To be clear, that did that to the goblin, not me, right?
It did that to the goblin.
Okay.
So you take 10 points of damage, Daz, and I need everyone to roll initiative.
I feel much better about that situation than if it were me.
Get it off me! Get it off me!
Alright, let's see. I think I have myself clicked on. I do now.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Treverin, you're up first.
The only visible creature is the mimic, right?
At the moment.
And does it chomp down on our goblin friend?
You hear a yelp and a cursing goblin.
Okay. I yell at the goblin, "Cover your eyes!" And then I hit the mimic with this.
Okay. Shit.
That's probably going to hit.
I would suspect it would.
Yep. So yes, 27 hits. Go ahead and roll damage. All right. So you watch as it impacts into the mimic. It kind of rears back, but it is holding down tight on Daz.
I don't really know how else I could help Daz at this moment, so I guess that's going to be my turn. Hold on one sec. Where am I? I'm in winter, so... Yeah, that's all I'm going to be able to do for this turn at the moment, unless he...
Okay. Droloff, you're up next.
Well, I'm going to move beside your variant and hold action.
Okay. What action are you holding? And
Cauterizer, melee attack.
Okay, if anything gets close to you.
I want to whack it.
Okay. Okay.
You said there was a chest underneath this left-hand table too?
Yep.
No, I don't trust it. Shit.
This is a defiant outsider. High drama.
Far as
indeed.
inside 5. Well, I'm gonna stay where I'm at then, and
Okay.
I am actually going to. Pointing my sword out at the mimic, have this come out of there.
Okay. So, that's an Eldritch Blast that you picked up as part of your sorcerer level, correct?
Correct.
So, it does not come out with the normal dark beam associated with Eldritch Blast. It instead comes out with this brilliant, bright, light, white beam. And 22 does hit, so you can roll damage for it.
And it gets 2 beams. So you have to remember how Eldritch Blast works. Does that mean I get?
You fire multiple beams at your level. I believe it's 2.
Yeah, I get.
So
I
you'll
get
get
2
to roll
of
2
it.
separate attacks. Yep.
Okay,
2
I wasn't sure if it was 2
attacks,
separate attacks or.
Yep, 2 separate attacks, and then a D12, I think, on each of them. 10 or whatever it is.
Oops, I had a leg spike there. Sorry.
All right. We'll count the 22 and the 17, not the crit. Sorry.
Yeah,
But
no,
both
you're
of
fine.
those will land.
There you go.
All right. So these 2 brilliant beams of white energy kind of shoot out from your hands, and so this is the first time you're casting that spell. So describe to me what brings you to instinctively go and cast it.
Something about. I want to make sure that the friends around me are protected, and seeing Draloff take his position and try to guard Treverin and knowing that 3 of them are over there, and knowing there's a chest behind me, I want to make sure that I put as much room in between myself and my allies and keep that chest in between me and it. So I'm going to aid my allies from this side as much as I can. And something about me told me that it was like an angelic presence was telling me that I needed to protect my allies more than anything, and that just was my first instinct.
It's a feeling you've not felt in a while. Too often in your years, you've been kind of kept to yourself, and so much so cloistered within the I guess what church that you really didn't come to get very close with anybody. And so this idea of protecting something other than just yourself or your own self-interest is something new, but it feels natural. All right, and you're staying there?
I'm staying there.
Okay. So coincidentally, while you were putting two and two together, when this thing activates, the armor does indeed begin to move on their own. And as one comes up right next to you, Singe, it is going to attempt to slam you twice.
Let's see. I believe that's going
Ignore the
to
description.
beat me. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so 17 beats your armor class. You'll take 3 bludgeoning on the first hit. And then that's not going to beat you. The other one making your way up to K.
Miss. Hit.
All right, 7 points on that one. Julie, you're up next.
Okay, Julie's going to, seeing the armor move and attack Singe, step up and get Singe's back and try to peel it off of him with some effective swordplay.
Go for it. 25 hits,
2 strikes.
22 hits. Okay. So, as you whack into this thing, there is no sound made. Your first instinct, as much armor as this is, that there might be something behind it, maybe somebody that was hiding. There's no sound of your sword connecting with flesh, but there is dents in the armor.
No.
Okay, that's. I'm actually going to slide over to here
We can get some.
to, again, try to turn it away from the other two who are struggling with the mimic.
Okay.
And have the stairs in my back.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
Okay. So next up is the mimic. While you are stuck on it, Daz, it is going to form sharp teeth around the edges of the chest itself and bite down on top of you. And the mimic does have advantage on attack rolls against grapple. Any creature it has grapple.
Ow!
You will take 12 points of damage, 6 piercing, 6 acid. As some acidic ooze, that is its drool, kind of seeps its way into your arm. And then, coincidentally, okay, the chest next to you does indeed move on its own volition, and a tongue attempts to shoot out of it and grapple you.
Of course it does.
Which I believe it does.
If it's... I'll let it grab me.
It's an object form. Yep. It's either the mimic is disguised as an object or it's in its amorphous form. It's one of the things I was unclear on when I was reading the rules for mimics the first time, but it is in its object form as a chest. It can and will grapple.
Yeah, until it moves into whatever its normal state is. It has that.
Yeah,
trait.
which is basically an amorphous blob.
Mhm.
So, didn't have much of a movement speed in this form. So, all right. Next, what happens is all those swords that had that magical aura around them activate. And let's see. Yeah, they're able to get there. 2 of them are going to fly in this direction, and they're going to attempt to attack Daz while he is incapacitated. Well, not incapacitated, but you know what I mean. So 2 slices as these swords animate all on their own, attempting to While this mimic is biting down, eating one of your arms, they're going to attempt to basically slice off the other one while you're trying to steady your crossbow. I believe both of those attacks will miss, though. Yep.
Oh, thank
Just
goodness. Thank
the
God for
other
my
two.
new armor they miss.
Yep. The navy blue saves the day. One will go after Dreloff, one will go after
I take
Treverin.
action.
Yep. Go ahead and take your attack. That hits. All right. So as this thing comes up to you, you take your hammer and just wham! You watch as the metal kind of bends in a little bit, but it still moves, albeit wobbly, and it will still attempt to slice at you. I think that'll miss you, though. And then
Yeah,
the
I'm
other
16.
one will, yeah, and the other one will take a swipe at Treverin. And Treverin with major armor, that's not going to do it. Okay. Daz, you are bound to this thing. Two
I
swords
want
are attempting
to.
to slice into you.
Oh, I want to break away.
Okay, it will be your action for the turn. Go ahead and make an athletics check. And you will have disadvantage on it. Because it's adhesive.
I can use acrobatics if I want to try and break a grapple, correct?
Not in this case, because you are adhesively grappled to it. You're not going to be able to finagle your acrobatics your way out of glue, basically. You are still grappled.
Uh, oh, shit. Hold on. I got to think.
Ouch.
Alrighty. Do my weapon attacks, are they going to be at disadvantage also?
No.
Okay.
You
So
just can't move.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to do
Okay.
action surge.
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to. Yeah, this will help me. I'm going to do action surge, and then I'm going to club this mimic with my
okay.
crossbow. I mean, I don't have two hands it's a two-hand weapon, but I'm just going to improvise weapon it.
Not only that, you'd be at disadvantage at that range.
Well, not if he's using it as a club.
No, if he was trying to fire it, he'd be at disadvantage.
No, I wouldn't.
He
But
has
anyway.
sharpshooter, so he wouldn't.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Oh, I take that back. Let me that. Supposed to disadvantage ranged weapon attack. You know what? I take that back. He would still have crossbow expert. Quality. Yep, you're right. There we go. I knew you had something. Anyway, but it is a two-handed crossbow, and one of your hands is kind of incapacitated. So
That's right. So I'm going to use it as improvised weapon and club this bastard.
Okay, make a strength check.
Isn't it just an attack roll?
Yes, but you're not proficient in it, so it'd be using your strength modifier.
Strength check. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Hold
It's
on.
a melee improvised weapon attack, so. I know you're proficient with crossbows, but not using them like that.
All right, I'm going to burn the superiority dice to make sure that this hits, and that's going to be precision attack. So that's the D8 that I can add to that.
You rolled a strength save, not a strength throw.
Oh shit!
You got to click on the strength text under your
Sorry.
score.
Oh,
there you go. Same number.
Okay.
So and then yes, add a D8 if you're gonna use.
I'm gonna burn because I don't know if this is gonna fucking hit or not.
This is precision attack you're doing.
A 12.
12 does hit.
Okay. Then with that being said, I'm going to menacing attack.
I did not mean to click that. I apologize.
And all it says is I have to hit with a weapon.
T-tax damage roll. Okay,
which I
so
did.
roll.
So I'm going to add this to the damage.
Roll a d4 for the damage of smacking it with the crossbow, and then add a d8 to it.
So 6 damage, and it needs to make a wisdom save. And the let's see, it is
I bet 10's not going to beat it.
it is going to be 8 plus proficiency,
Which your proficiency is already a 3, so there's no way it's going to beat it.
Okay.
Did you just roll the wisdom for the animated armor? Or
Yep, shit. Fuck me.
That's right. Wow.
I gotta make a wisdom save using the appropriate stats. Alright, still fails.
All right, so it is frightened of me. Whatever the
Yep.
hell that gives. Hopefully it runs the fuck away.
Well, you're grappled, so it's gonna drag you with it. That's gonna be funny. Okay, so it is still grappled to your tongue. You see it, but it begins to make this notion like it's pulling away.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. Done for your turn?
Yeah.
Daz, you're up. Or Daz. Singe, you're up next.
Okay, I would not ask this question if immediately before the combat started, I had not cast Detect Magic and you hadn't told me exactly what type of magic that we were dealing with for the armor and the swords.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue if I know that that's what you call it, that they're being animated like that by that specific magic effect,
Mm-hmm.
that I should be able to cast Dispel Magic, and it should affect all 4 of those.
What's the range of Dispel Magic? What's the radius of Dispel Magic, I should say?
Hold on, I had it looked up earlier.
Range is 120 feet.
Yeah, not range, it's radius. That's what matters.
There's no radius. It specifically, when you cast this spell using... Oh, yeah, my bad.
Choose one creature, object, or magical
magical
effect
effect within range.
But it's
So
a
you'll have to
magical
pick.
effect.
Well, these guys are considered creatures, so you have to pick one.
Well, if I have to pick one, then I'll pick the one closest to me. North
Well,
of me.
okay. So you're casting Dispel Magic on the armor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it has to make a con save against it. What's your spell save DC?
Well, hold on. I gotta click on the thing.
Doesn't matter. I rolled a 3. Okay.
I lied.
All right, then. So.
It falls.
All right, good. That's out of the picture. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Next up is Treverin.
I don't much like these 2 swords sitting next to me, but I need to get my goblin friend's arm free, so I'm gonna target the mimic that's got him, and I'm gonna hit him with firebolt again.
Okay. 27 hits. Alrighty. It is still holding strong, but it is looking kind of hurt. Alright. Anything else for your turn?
Give me. Let's see. No, I'm just gonna stay there. I was gonna do something, but I think I better save it for much more dire need.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
if you're up next.
Alright, seeing my friend's in trouble, I rage as soon as I find it.
Okay.
And I swing at the one to my left.
Go for it.
Reckless.
It's already looking. Okay. It's already looking pretty dented. Alright, that hits. You shatter that sword in 2. It is no more.
I'm gonna swing at the one to the left of Trevor.
Okay. If you're swinging reckless, you do have advantage on the roll. Just be aware.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Just roll
Foggy.
it again without hitting the advantage.
There you go. Roll damage for the crit. I believe I've already set Coderizer to roll for brutal critical.
Jesus, that's a lot of damage.
he adds an extra d12 on every crit now. 9th level barbarian. So that's doing my math right here. That's going to be 20, 34, and 3 is 37 points of damage.
What
So
was
you,
animated?
it is no longer animated. You've never seen Trevor, and you've never seen someone turn a piece of weaponry into sushi, chopped sushi. You've never. It's weird. It's not something you would expect from a dwarf of all things, but if anybody's going to turn making a weapon into a chopped form of something, I guess a dwarf would be the one to turn it into an art form.
I look at Drolf and say, "You're not planning to feed that to the goblin later, are you?"
Maybe.
He says while raging recklessly. Are you moving at all?
Yes, I'm gonna go bail K's ass out.
Okay. Speaking of K,
And knowing this is a suit of armor, I'm going to flip my longsword into a warhammer and attempt to sweep the leg.
sweep the leg, Johnny.
Quick, get those supplies
1,
away
2
from them.
on that suit of armor.
Okay, the 12 misses, the 26 does not. I assume you're rolling that two-handed?
Nope, one-handed. I still have a shield on.
All right. So you smack the legs. You go for the sweep the leg. You watch the legs kind of dent in a little bit. Surprisingly, it's still standing.
I hate it. That's it.
Well.
Actually, you know what? I lied. I am also going to cast this on myself.
Okay. So you get +2 bonus to AC then, making your AC 22?
Correct.
All right. All right. The armor goes next. Well, one has been dispelled. The other one is just going to attempt to smack you twice, Kay. And neither attack hitting. Julie. The armor before you has collapsed after Sin just cast a spell on it.
All right. This mimic is still active, though, and still holding my friend, correct?
Correct. One is also
Yeah,
holding onto Kay.
Yeah, I'm going to move over here and attack the mimic this time.
Go for it.
Hey, get off my clothes.
Both attacks will land.
Those supplies. Don't let the
All right.
Yeah, they took it off.
the advantage.
It is looking pretty badly dented up, but it is still holding on tightly.
I'm going to action surge and attack at the back.
Okay. 24 hits, so does 14. All right. So, as you cut down into it, as you're kind of pulling away, trying to steady yourself so you can actually use your longbow, and you manage to pull your arm through the teeth as Julie kind of cuts this thing into half. There are bits of you pull your arm out through the teeth, it causes some nasty scrape marks along your arm, and there's a bit of the tongue that's still kind of stuck to it. You have to fling your arm a little bit to get it free and get this little adhesive tongue away, but you have your hand free. We're no longer grappled, and that mimic is gone.
Oh, thank God.
All right, I'm going to use the rest of my movement to put myself here.
Daddy's pissed. He's down the front yelling.
Okay. The one that is still active is going to raise up its teeth and bite down hard on top of you, Kay.
Sounds good. That'll miss!
12 points. Oh no, that's right. Shield of Faith, it misses. It bounces off of this radiant aura that is surrounding your arm now, after you cast the shield. Alright. The swords that are left, one's going... They're actually...
What have we here?
Well, let's see.
A
Yeah, they're both going to swing at Daz.
versus a defiant outsider. Hi,
One's going to hit you for 7 points as it cuts into the arm that's already taken a few scrapes. You're up next.
I will perform the disengage action.
Alright. What you can do as a bonus action. Because Gobbo.
Go there, and then turn around and attack this one. Without disadvantage.
All right, 22 hits. Now, did you take a level in Rogue?
I did,
So
so
you
I
had
can
sneak attack on top of it.
I can add sneak attack on that. I think I will.
You need to understand the forces
So that first
work
one hits
upon us all.
for
Use
12,
this
and the
telemancy
second one for
to
9.
recover any void
Okay.
experiments you find.
Just as a note, when you do sneak attack, you'll notice at the bottom of underneath your weapons, there is the superiority die as
Oh.
well as the sneak attack. If you checkmark that, that'll automatically add those dice in the future.
Okay.
So instead of you having to manually add it every time. So that said, you do enough damage to that sword that you manage to kind of plunk it out of the air, and it just kind of scatters ting, 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 across the floor.
All right, and that is it.
All right, Sin, you're up next.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'll attack to the sword to the south of me, but I'm not using the shield right now. It's stowed on me. Um,
Mhm.
can I pull out the maul that I have?
Sure.
All right, figure I'd ask, and I will attempt to attack the sword south of me.
All right, drawing forth your gigantic maul, draconic symbols on the heft of the hammer.
Where you been hiding that shit?
You just got it.
All right.
Oh.
You take it up, swing it up high, go down for the cross, and you completely whiff the sword and just smash into the tile floor of this foyer. And you watch as bits of tile just kind of scatter all around you.
Oh. That's it.
Okay. Treverin.
Seeing that the one mimic's gone, but now the other mimics got K, I'm gonna shift my attention to him. And yeah, it's been working so far, so let's just firebolt it again.
Okay. 25 hits. All right. Bits of wood kind of splinter off of the form of this mimic, and as the wood kind of splinters off, it turns into this weird amorphous blob.
Yep, that's it for my turn.
All right, Drelov.
I'm gonna smack the shit out of them.
Go for it.
Reckless, quarter hazard.
17 hits, so it's 28. All right. You start splintering into this thing. It is still standing tightly, and it is still grappled tightly, but it is looking hurt.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I Dude. Nah, I'll save that. I'm just gonna smack the suit of armor 2 more times again.
Just keep in mind that you're still grappled by the mimic.
Yep.
All right. Both attacks will land.
That's
I rolled 2
interesting.
ones. I suck.
Damn. All right. You bludgeon into the armor. It's looking a little shaky, but it is still up.
That'll be it.
All right. It is going to slam into you twice, or attempt to. Both attacks will miss. Julie.
Okay, Julie is going to slide over here and attack that sword.
If I want to, then you can, take a shower and study tomorrow morning.
The 16 will miss. The 18 will hit.
Oh, horrible roll.
All right. You managed to clip a little bit. You watch as it kind of staggers in the air a little bit, but it begins kind of shift its way around to focus on you.
Okay, that's fine. Mission accomplished.
So
All right.
the Spanish paper didn't mean anything?
The mimic is going to raise up its teeth once more and bite down, try to attempt to bite down even harder. Still missing. The sword, with its attention on Julie, is going to swing in his direction. I think 20 will hit you for reduced 6 points of damage. Then Daz, you're up next.
All right, so this might be venturing into the Munchkin type territory, but for what, as long as I'm out of the view of the creature, then I can hide and then come back in for.
You have to be in total cover.
So if I ran out here, did a hide, then I still have movement to, pop back in and pop it a couple times. Would that be correct?
Possible, but you'll make the stealth check at disadvantage because you're actively in combat with it. You can still have a chance to hide, but
I'm surprised you're not using those windows to your advantage. Pull a juke move.
I'm familiar with what the juke move is, but all right. So I'll move here. Attempt to hide.
okay. Stealth check with disadvantage. No, that's gonna fail. Not hidden.
I don't know that, but after that, then I pop back in and hit that one twice.
Okay. You're just not gonna get the roll with advantage. That's all.
All right. And I know you said that sneak attack thing, but all I do is I click on the crossbow and it just does damage automatically. Hopefully, yeah, that
If
works.
you have the check mark.
5 sneak.
You'll see the sneak there. That's your
Yep.
sneak attack damage. So you just have to have that check.
And that's the 2.
Yep. There you go. All right. Both attacks will land. And that is going to be enough that it falls back, and Kay is no longer grappled. You have a sword and a piece of suit of armor to contend with. Yep. Are you done for your turn, Daz?
Then I move back out here.
Okay. Siege.
All right. I will attempt to hit the thing again on the south of me.
Okay.
I'll try that again.
Feeling a little embarrassed about the first swing, you go for a second, and you don't manage to smash any tiles this time, but the sword does still swing out of the way.
You're getting better though.
Yeah, I think I basically added 1 to the roll.
Natural 1 and a natural 2.
Is this classic WoW? Are you leveling your sword skill?
Unarmed.
Just closing in on it.
All right.
That's
Done for your...
yeah, that's all I'm gonna do.
All right. Treverin.
Alright. Seeing the mimics are now no longer a threat, I'm gonna hit the suit of armor with firebolt.
Okay. It hits. Roll damage. It's enough that with a small explosion, concentrated explosion of fire, the armor reels back and kind of clatters across the floor.
Okay.
Graloff.
I'll move over here and swing at the thing the dragon keeps missing.
Okay.
If you miss 2, I'm gonna laugh.
18 hits, so does 23.
Okay.
And with those swings, the sword is shattered into several pieces and scatters across the floor. So, you're out of combat after having ventured some ways, making your way to this strange mansion in an effort to fulfill a bargain to try to make your way without casualties, for now, into the Scorched Eye clan's base in an effort to save Julie's clan from Gilladran the White, this brutal pale orc that seems to be gathering together a horde to assault the Silver Marshes and its surrounding cities. We will pick this up next week.
So, just a quick question. We're also doing this to have Kraloff get his help as well, correct? I mean...
in a matter of speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're killing multiple birds with the stone, yeah.
Alright.
Everyone's getting something. It's nice.